Hello and welcome to Big Bandit Gaming. I'm your host Troy, and today we have Colton.
Hello.
Josh.
What's up?
Victoria.
Hello.
And Isaiah.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Okay, well, that was a cry for help. Good thing you have two people on this podcast in your house that can check on you, but until then, we will continue onwards. So, you all might be wondering out there, hey, I maybe I haven't thought about it, but I haven't seen this feed update in like a month and a half. There are reasons, let me tell you.
My brother's been very upset with me.
Oh no, we can't. I'm sorry.
Our number one fan.
We can't let you down. We let you down. So yeah, I've been personally. I know there's been stuff going on besides that stopped another recording, but personally, I am like technically homeless. For last week. I went down to Texas, and while I was in Texas, let me tell you that plane ride back. Apparently, you're not supposed to go on a plane with a head cold, and now I know that you can get something called bariotitis. And that fun word. Oh, I'm glad you asked. What happens is if you go up with a cold and you are descending in a plane, your ears can't equalize, so you can't pop your ears.
Oof.
And if you've ever been on a plane and that pressure builds, it just built and built, and no matter what I chewed, drank, nothing could pop it because my sinuses were all clogged up. And when I tell you, it was like a top 5 pain ever, probably like top 3. Like I felt my left eardrum was going to explode. It was that bad. And so, yeah, because I went up there with like a slight cold, I started feeling bad Sunday, and then we went, by Sunday night, we were on the plane. And now I have not been able to hear out of either of my ears for like a week. They got infected. I got a really bad cold. It was a whole deal. So, yeah, I still can't hear out of my right ear. It's been more than a week. And I can, I was just telling Colton, that's the reason I can't, only reason I haven't seen the new Into the Spider-Verse is because I refuse to see that movie when I can't hear it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You're in for it.
Dude, it was so good.
I know.
Amazing.
Everyone has told me that. And I'm like, I have to wait one more week, and whether I can hear or not, I'm going to watch it. I know. Yeah. We'll talk about it. Give people another month.
Oh no! I'm gonna go and just say it. Go watch that movie right now. I don't care.
Okay.
Just go watch it.
I thought you were gonna spoil it. You're like, I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, he's like, oh no. Scene by scene right now. But yeah, so that's and yes, I'm like between houses technically right now, so I'm like doing this on a kitchen table. It's been crazy. So how you guys been doing this month?
That was a voice crack if I've ever heard one from you.
Oh, dude, I'm still
leave him alone.
Kick him while he's down.
No, that's what I'm gonna do. Anyways, what have we been doing? Oh, for starters, you came to Texas, us three, Victoria and Colton and me. We housed you. He ignored you.
I just avoided you.
Yeah.
We housed you. We took care of you. We fed you.
I was sick.
Yeah.
We loved you unconditionally, and we had a lot of fun of you being here. I learned a new game called Windjammers. God bless that game.
I can't believe you never heard of that game.
I can't believe it either. But thank God for Troy. He's here to show me the niche games I don't know.
Those old 90s games for old men, old people over 30.
And those 30-year-old people are making like indie game studios where they're like, hey, what if we were just to revive these silly little games that we liked as we were kids, like Streets of Rage and Windjammers. By the way, kudos to those developers. God bless y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I had a good time out there. What about you all? How's it been?
Well, I mean, roughly the same as Isaiah. However, right after you left, obviously I had to work the next week, and I got a it looks like a very good, really good in condition. What am I trying to say?
Vita.
I got a Vita in very good condition. That's what I'm trying to say.
Excellent condition.
It looked like it was in excellent condition. However, I cannot get that thing out of demo mode. No matter what I try, I spent probably 3 hours one night downloading stuff on my computer to install certain apps to like jailbreak it kind of and to mod it. But no matter what I do, as long as it if it ever powers off or turns off for any reason or updates, it will reset everything I did to it and go right back to demo mode. So
Weird.
yeah,
Did you try
that's
taking
interesting.
the demo mode cart out of the cart slot?
It had I got it from somebody's house,
Oh,
and it
okay.
actually had a game in it.
Oh, did it? What was
Not
the
that you
game?
can play it. Unit 13.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Unit 13. Well,
That was
I'm gonna try.
Unit 13 was the SOCOM developers. That was their last game before Sony was like, "Yeah, you're done. we're
Oh,
taking all your jobs. Bye."
Yeah. Well, hopefully I can get it working. I'm gonna try to contact one of those like local guys that like fix PS3s or PS4s. Maybe they know how to mod it in some way that I don't. So hopefully I can get that working. But
Yeah.
also Friday, was it Friday or Thursday, Isaiah? I also got something from work. I got a working Oculus for Isaiah.
Oh,
It seems to be working.
I was gonna
Nice.
wait, bro. I was gonna announce it.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you know what version you got?
Yes, we got the
Oculus, or?
we got 2016 Oculus Rift.
Oh,
and it
nice.
has these two sensors. It came with two controllers, and the way it works
came
is
with everything.
essentially, yeah,
That's
the way it
nice.
works is that you have the two sensors, the headset itself. They all connect to the desktop of your PC, and the controllers are actually cool enough. They just run on like a AA battery, just singular. So it's like a little Wiimote essentially. But we got one. I've been playing with it. We haven't gotten Beat Saber, Half-Life Alyx, or even the Help Wanted FNAF game like Five Nights at Freddy's. But we do have Phasmophobia. I got Super Hot VR. I want to say we got Rec Room, of course, VR chat and other things as well that are like for free. I even got this one psychedelic, like it's called like Cosmic Sugar game or whatever it's called. Like you listen to music and the music affects your surroundings essentially, but it's psychedelic, so it's like weird. But anyways, we've been playing with it. It's really fun. Works fine. Like I said, I'm gonna buy those Beat Saber games. Like I'm buying like Half-Life Alyx 100%. But what we played so far, it looks really cool. But I think a running trait with old VR headsets that they definitely will like sore you out. Like the lenses kind of like take a toll on your eyes after a while.
Oh, they're uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the dizziness will get you at some point. Like Colton was playing it for quite some time until he was like, "Whew, okay, I think I'm good."
It started to get to me a little bit.
Yeah, you will build a tolerance to it. It's just
those older headsets. They have something called like the screen door effect, where you feel like you're looking through something, and that can get you kind of woozy. Where a lot of the newer headsets have kind of helped with that for sure. And hopefully it's playing at a decent frame rate too, because a low frame rate in VR will like that'll really like turn your stomach if it's not stable.
Yeah,
it's
pretty stable so far.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything horrible with it.
Cool.
The only caveat to all this is that now I'm kind of interested in the future of VR. Like I'm talking like Quest 2.
Like the Apple VR.
Yes, that just got announced
today. You got to spare $35,000.
Yeah.
That thing is not $35,000, $3,500, $35,000.
35.
They're not that expensive.
35,000. Yeah.
No,
it's a VR headset you can drive.
Can we touch on that real quick? Can we just like talk about how like that's freaking weird? We're getting an augmented reality headset.
It seems more like an AR platform than a VR platform.
Yeah, it is. That's what they said. It's an AR thing.
Boo.
Man,
I'm not gonna lie. Obviously the future of all that is super scary because I've seen Black Mirror. I know what that leads to. However, the tech looks really fun to play with. I actually kind of. I wish I could mess with it, but
it's gonna be your fault.
I know it will be, and I'm willing to take that. It's fine.
No, it's fine.
Reject evolution. Embrace super hot. That's all I gotta say.
Such a mediocre game.
Hey, it's more fun in VR, buddy.
Them's fighting.
I believe that it's more fun in VR. It was garbage on the PlayStation.
I would suggest you look up Boneworks. I've heard that's really neat too.
Oh,
I don't know if you need like finger sensor stuff for that game, but I think you're probably fine.
Yes, I've seen this before. I will say it's a little tempting to look at a Valve Index controller. Those controllers are like the real meat. So one day I'll look into it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you. One of these days, I will get a VR headset. That
It's
PlayStation one is
expensive.
tempting. It's just so expensive. And there's
Yeah, but also
there's
like
always 3 other electronics I need more than a VR headset. So
the issue with PSVR 2 is that it doesn't port your past VR games. All you get are the 3 main VR 2 games that are coming out, like exclusive specifically, like Horizon, like Resident Evil 8. Like I'd say we both just wait a few years, see how it goes. If they support it, good. We'll get it. But until
no,
then,
I'm with you.
I'm gonna hold off on that.
I really want to play Astrobot and Alex.
On like VR?
specifically- Yeah, and specifically, but none of those work with PSVR 2. So I'm like,
I need Alex, dude.
what about
I
this?
need Half-Life Alex. We've both been fans for a long time, and I'm excited. I'm excited, bro. That game looks so good, and like G-Man's gonna give a whole like little like reveal for his like briefcase. I'm so excited for that game.
All right. Anything else before we move on?
Oh,
to the
for a
show.
month I've been vomiting.
Oh,
yes. Yes, he's
What?
been vomiting a lot.
That's
Does this have to do with the VR? He's like, I love it, but I can't stop vomiting.
No, I just want to pull that out there. I'm
It's
finally
worth it.
getting medical help.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good. You're just like our 2 cats. It's fine.
Coughing up hair balls every 20 seconds. Yeah.
So yeah, the only thing I've done recently is I was able to finally buy myself a external hard drive for the PlayStation.
Oh,
we
that's nice.
Oh,
I know,
How do you-
I know.
nice.
I don't have it yet, but it's nice.
Oh, it's coming.
what do they
it's
run
shipping.
now?
But it-
Didn't they have like a little bit of a discount? Or something like
I bought a Western Digital Black 5 terabyte. I think it's like the P10. It's like the slower model.
Oh, so you're still talking internal storage. I think when I think external,
External.
I think USB. Like,
That's not internal. It is external.
is it?
Yeah. Well, it
Okay.
says it in the name.
yeah,
I guess you're right,
the little stick you put in there, right?
Yeah,
That feels more
You're talking about,
internal
like, the
than
M2,
what I'm
right?
talking about. You have to run a wire from the system to a box. Like
Oh, so not the stick.
not those fancy like cards.
That's
you
what
see.
that's what I thought you meant.
But
Okay.
I
Yeah.
guess that was confusing because Western Digital Black, like they make that same line has the internal cards. But no, this is an external box. I got a 5 terabyte, so once it gets here, I can put all my games on it. Once
Can
I
you run?
steal Colton's internet.
Can you run PS5 native games off an external hard drive? I think
I
you
d-
couldn't.
You couldn't, but I think they updated it. But even still, like 90% of my games are PS4 games.
Okay.
Yes.
fair enough.
Yeah. That's fair.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but like you were saying, Colton, I think I've seen like 1 terabyte M2 drives for like a little over 100. Like they're getting really cheap.
That's not as bad as I
But-
thought it was.
Yeah, but I paid 100 for freaking 5.
Right.
It just has to sit
Yeah.
outside the box.
Well, you'll just have to
Oh.
let us know if you can play like Ratchet and Clank on it or something.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay, we'll do. I'll just play
Troy.
the PS4 Ratchet and Clank.
That's
What's
cool,
up?
by the way. I just want to say that's cool, Josh. I'm excited
Oh.
for you. Let us know
Cool
like when you
story.
actually
Thank you.
receive that. When you actually receive it, let us know. Like, let us know how it goes. But like,
Yeah,
if
it could
everything
just be a
works.
disaster.
It could be, yeah. So update us on that. But I
Yeah.
want to be around the. I don't want to be around the bush any longer. Troy, you've been really hyping us up. Like around like. What is it, Colton?
Nothing.
He said, "Wow."
I was like, wow. I guess. All right, we'll stop talking.
No!
Isaiah's in a rush, I guess.
Yeah.
No, Isaiah's trying to. He's
I'm-
trying to give me a.
Oh my
an
God.
in. He's trying to give me a solid.
I think he's trying to take over
Yeah.
hosting duties.
That's what I'm saying.
Please,
I-
Look out.
We've been-
there'll be less cracking of the voice this way.
We've been waiting
Well,
for a long
let's see.
time for Troy to actually talk about this. Troy, tell us about your thoughts on the worst week Xbox has had for PR.
Yeah. Well, so this is a weird one because it was like a larger story even like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I feel
Yeah.
like every week, like 3 big gaming stuff happens, whether it's like a huge release or another conference. So this might be a little old in the tooth, but I still think it's relevant. So yeah, no, Xbox truly had a really bad month. like one of the worst months I've seen since they announced the Xbox One. I don't think I've seen a worse like PR week for any one company. It might be worse just because it's like a team that should know better. That's kind of the worst part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Xbox because I feel like I've been the Xbox, not apologist, that might be the wrong word for it, but I've always been.
No, I would say that.
Yeah, sure. Josh would say that. But, since the Series X and the PS5 came out, there were things about the Series X. I was like, you know what? I think I like this UI better. I think I like the way the system settings work. I like how you launch games, how you update games, how it's sorted. Like, there were just a lot of tiny things early on that I was like, you know what? I could see me using this console as just like my main platform. And then PS5, I just like use it for first party stuff. And Sam has the Series S, so I was like, yeah, I can just like, switch over to hers in the living room. It'll be like a good system for me. But I would say within the last I would say 3 months, I've been buying things specifically on PS5 for a lot of different reasons. But let's just start. Let's just go over the beginning. I have notes with me. I just want to remind you all what Xbox's last 8 months have been. So we all talked about this. Hit their 2022 was bad. It wasn't good.
Right.
I don't feel like we were as hard on them as we were. I mean, I think all of us in general were like, that sucked, but they really need to bring it, in 2023. Like, if this isn't the year, then that's crazy. And so far, it's not been looking good. So yeah, we had that. I think FTC right at the Game Awards. So we all watched the Game Awards together the day before the FTC said they were gonna, take Microsoft to court for that acquisition, for the Activision acquisition, and then I think it just all starts falling apart from there. So Halo Infinite fails as a project, which was their one game. I feel like they really were hanging a lot on Halo Infinite to be like kind of their destiny or the game you could just always go back to. And it just is not that game. Don't get me wrong. It's a good game. It is not a good live service game. It's not a good, a game with continued support. It burned bright and just went away. And it's been not great ever since. I would say the one highlight of this year for them was Hi-Fi Rush. I think when we talked about that, we were all pretty high on that. Or at least we had nothing bad to say about it, right?
Right. Besides, Xbox app being an absolute crap hole.
Oh yeah,
it's giving Colton even bigger headaches.
Okay, so yes, right after Hi-Fi Rush, I was still like, okay, well at least we got something. And then I don't know, right after Hi-Fi Rush, I feel like everything on has just been real bad for Xbox. First of all, I think the first thing that really threw me off was, and I think this leads to what we're going to talk about near the end here, is all of a sudden these Bethesda ports started performing worse on Series X and PS5. So we have what was the first game?
Tokyo Mirage Session?
No.
That's
Ghostwire.
Ghostwire and
Deathloop.
Thank you. Yes, both Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop run substantially worse on the Series X than the PS5 with a year lead time into that. And that really is where it started to hit me. I'm just like, dude, if I'm going to play these games day one, I have no confidence that the Series X version is going to run better than the PS5 or even comparable. I feel like every port pretty much down the line with a few exceptions like Dead Space have all been worse. So that's where I started to just be like, okay, I guess maybe I'm not gonna put my Xbox. It's not my console this generation. And then of course, Redfall drops.
We were genuinely
yeah, that was bad.
We were genuinely excited for this game, and I even had my list last year.
I put it on my list, man. What
we
heck?
both had our list.
Yeah.
We looked forward to the idea, the concept, and just looking forward to what it would bring to the table for a family like us, me, Victoria, and Colton, who can just hop on our PlayStation or Xbox and just play it. Like we have it on Game Pass PC and our extra Xbox. We could have been there to for launch and played it together, but we all know how that went. It came out unfinished and with already like just overall buggy and like underperforming AI, and overall it just wasn't great. And that's what was really disappointing. And as we both know, what followed these events was that massive like meeting with Kind of Funny and Phil Spencer.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, to go back to Redfall real quick before we jump into that, like this is an Arcane game.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's right.
Like, they have a long history of creating games that aren't necessarily like sellers, but that's the whole point of Game Pass is you don't need to make something that's gonna make like Call of Duty numbers or even like sell 5 million. You just need to make something cool that make people want to sign up. And Redfall is not that, but that's the thing. All their other games are exactly that. They're like cool niche games that like a group, a certain player would really vibe with. And Josh, I can see on our notes here that you had played a couple of Arcane games like recently. Was that kind of in response to Redfall?
So I was just super excited because I was like, oh, another Arcane game. I remember like really enjoying Dishonored, and I kind of stopped keeping up with it after I played the first Dishonored. I knew they released Dishonored 2 and Prey and Deathloop, but none of them really got me in. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and play because I had bought them already like a couple of years ago and just forgot about it. So I downloaded them and I played through Dishonored 2, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's pretty similar to the first game. You get a lot of new abilities with like the second character, but yeah, just overall solid game. Like it's such a clean world. Like everything is purposeful. Like you no matter like what corner of the map you go to, you can feel the developers intended you to be there at some point if you wanted to, but it's not forcing you to. And I love that style of that gameplay loop. And then I tried out Prey thinking, okay, this is the one that people kind of thought, it had a rough launch, but people came around on it. I was like, okay, so I wasn't expecting like too much out of it. But after playing Prey, I was like, wow, I think it's mostly inspired by System Shock. Is that right?
Yeah.
Troy, yeah. I haven't played System Shock, and I barely touched BioShock. But Prey, I was like, oh my, this might be like top 20 material. This is like a really, really cool game.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually into like space games, so it did something for me like stylistically in the environment designs, and they have this. I think this is in one of the other games as well. There's like a monster that chases you around in points of the game.
What's it called from Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
Or more Resident Evil 3 than 2.
Yeah, Nemesis.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Nemesis.
Yeah. So it'll like give you a warning that it's coming up, and you gotta like either fight it or get out of there.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I really like that element. The story was really good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, like top tier game. But like right after I finished playing through that, all the news came out about Redfall, and I was like, oh no. Like all this excitement I had built up just to be disappointed, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to play Deathloop now.
Yeah, and it's funny because Arcane is the like masters of the immersive sim, and that's not a game genre a lot of studios even try.
Yeah, I'm still not sure I even know what it means, to be honest.
I would put like Deus Ex, like Human Revolution, in that territory.
That is a
like
very good
Thief games, like it's just like something where you can go at a scenario with like and have very different options and different paths and different takes or different solutions. I think Zelda kind of has a lot of like immersive sim qualities too.
Yes,
and it's just it's just a way of designing a game that's not very common. And Redfall comes out. It gets a 56 in Metacritic, and it's one thing for a studio to put out kind of a stinker.
Yeah,
I think it's another thing for it to be your first party game and the first in like over a year to get a 56. Like that's why this became such a big story and a big deal, to the point where like a day later, like you said, Phil Spencer went on to Kind of Funny for like an emergency interview. It felt like
that was rough,
which is crazy. Like that.
Yeah.
That he did that. I both have respect for him for doing it, but also I was just like, man, they came
He
out
said
like
way too much.
the headlines.
He-
I know.
I still never
Okay.
saw it. I just kind of saw
Oh,
clips
you
of
should
it.
watch
it's wild,
it.
dude.
Yeah,
It's
you should
wild.
watch it.
So he doesn't. So he says certain things that can be taken out of context. You know, like when you hear him say it, you're like, okay, I see where he's coming from. I see why he says he can't beat Microsoft Nintendo and Sony in
Yeah.
this area, but taken out of context, it's just like, yeah, we're never gonna beat them.
I just think
Oh.
it was more of his demeanor than it was what he was saying.
Oh, just that he was
Like he seemed defeated.
Yes, I
Totally,
agree with that.
yeah.
I agree with that entirely. I just think, yes, once again, like we all respect him for it. Like it was really cool how, regardless of like what's going on at Xbox, Phil Spencer is there to be transparent and like clear. But at the same time, I just have a lot. I guess that the word would be sympathize or even just empathize. I guess for him, for Microsoft, for Xbox, but also just like Arcane. Like apparently from like the last project Arcane put out, or at least from Brave, from what I know, they lost a lot of like employees there.
Well,
A lot
I think
of
that was
people.
more recently.
No,
they
that
lost
That's
so
recent?
yeah. If we'd
Oh,
done this
okay.
podcast like a week ago, we wouldn't have got this. But Jason Schreier released a report saying like Redfall is a product of Bethesda coming down to all their studios and saying, "Hey, we need multiplayer. Like we need games that will have players put more money to it after the fact." And that's where like I think that's where he's saying that's where like Fallout. Fallout 1. I can't
76.
think of names, man. God. Okay.
76, yeah.
Fallout 76, like Wolfenstein New Blood, which was a really
Okay.
bad little expansion. Like this all came from Bethesda. So in a lot of ways, Redfall's failing is Bethesda's fault, but that doesn't surprise me. Because I've always had weird opinions of how Bethesda like
Yeah, for the
runs as a
past like
company.
decade since like
Yeah.
Skyrim, they've just been going downhill a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit every release. But it's more surprising that Microsoft this seems like avoidable. Like every one of these points seems like it could have been avoided in some way, and Xbox just has not been on top of it, like management and leadership.
Yeah.
And I think that's really clear to me after this PlayStation showcase, because we could be having a different conversation even now. Like, notice how we're not even talking about, and PlayStation does this, and PlayStation does that. Like, this PlayStation event just came out, and they didn't show a lot of first party like stuff
No.
you would consider like
Yeah.
PlayStation games. Like single player, big spectacle, like from your larger studios like Sucker Punch or stuff like that. It just wasn't there. It was like a lot of live service stuff and Spider-Man.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm actually saying like I think PlayStation is headed the same wrong direction with all these live
Oh.
service games.
Yeah, and that's
They're-
a whole other
most of them,
conversation.
yeah, most of them are gonna fail. Just like Redfall failed. Like you're gonna get a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 out of the what do they have, like a dozen?
I mean, dude, yeah,
live service games.
it's been proven too that like, hey, like 90% of these live service games launch and then fail like 3 months later.
Yeah.
Like, is that going to be the future of like half of PlayStation's output so they can get that one live service game?
Yeah.
Like, I hope not. That'd
It's
be
just
terrible.
a gross business move in my eyes.
No,
Right.
I'm with you,
Yeah.
but it just kind of solidified that it's obviously PlayStation the first 2 years of this console launch, they were really lucky to have Insomniac, Insomniac and Guerrilla, like, and a few like really big first party things. It's not like they've been outputting games. I'd say like, oh man, that's like a top 20 of all time. You know what I mean? They've just been outputting games, which is nice, which is good. But it's not like, I think it struck me, it's just like, it's not like PlayStation is blowing them out of the water so bad that it's like a comparison. It's just like, man, like Xbox is tripping over its own feet,
Yeah.
the way they're running the studios, the output, it seems like it's weird because they almost over communicate, but also under communicate,
Yeah.
it's strange.
Like watching
So-
a gameplay trailer happen, and it's like, oh, are you giving me
Yeah.
much of this or this? Like, I see what you mean.
Absolutely. And so, just to finish out this talk, I did put right here, Phil Spencer interviews candid and leaves everything a little bleak. Like that's how I felt coming out of that. I'm just like, God, man, it like I'm glad I am not like in a fanboy. I only own one console sort of mindset because
Yeah.
good luck to those guys. Like,
Yeah, good luck.
good luck. Like, I don't know how you come out of that. And you know what's really saving Xbox this last week? I think the PlayStation, like I said, the PlayStation conference coming out. If they would have just been like, "Yo, here's 5 first-party like single-player experiences," that would have been like, "Man, that is so rough for them," But they
Right.
didn't. And also, a lot of the games we're talking about this week are going to be third-party. They're on everything. Like third parties have come in this year, and I think that's really helping both PlayStation and Xbox. Because it's not like PlayStation has released a ton of games this year. They really haven't.
Whoa.
They just haven't been.
But they got Final Fantasy exclusive for the first year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
They will get
pretty
something.
big.
That's a big deal.
soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have $100 like whole pre-order for it physically. I'm excited for
You're
it.
a big spender.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm doing the pre-order, so I pay
No.
a little bit, a little bit, $10 every week. Okay.
Okay.
But
The,
actually,
yeah.
here, go ahead.
Sorry. I'll just end this. Last thing is just I wrote down here that reports came out that year-over-year console sales are down for Xbox, which is like a terrible place to be on your second year.
Yeah.
When like it's like its availability is there. Anyone could get it at any point, and they're down like year-over-year. Only in the second year. That's bad. That's not good.
That is bad. Yeah.
And I think we say this every year. It's just like, man, they really need to bring it in that showcase.
Oh yes, that showcase is in like a few days, and they've announced it. They've announced it to where it's like, hey, we're not gonna have any CGI trailers at all, like nothing.
Again, I think they saw that PlayStation conference and were like, okay,
how do we capitalize off of this?
How exactly?
But if they don't have anything to show, they don't have anything to show. They can't really do anything like retroactively, I guess.
Yeah. So either they really need to bring some like some studios need to start showing some work, whether it's like ready or not. Just to I don't know, man. It's tough, right?
Yeah. Or just give us take from Nintendo, give us Metro Prime 4. What do you guys think?
And it's rough too because it's like Starfield is coming out, right? But me personally, I could see not playing Starfield, like just straight up. It could just be a game that I'm like, there are like 20 other games this year I need to play. Like I'm gonna need to play Tears of the Kingdom at some point this year.
I genuinely felt the exact same way. The other day I was just like, I could just sell my Xbox. I don't need.
I'm not. Don't do that, Josh, because you're just gonna buy it again. But
hey,
that's true. That's true.
That's true.
But I would never say that about Spider-Man specifically. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I will say, like, ever since like we saw like the whole thing going down with Xbox, I talked to Victoria. I was like, you might be onto something about countering Starfield on Javi's list, and she was like, I told you. What was she cooking? And she's cooking. She's cooking. So.
I told you. I don't think Starfield's going to do well. And if it comes out this year, I think it's going to be bad. If they push it, I'll win anyway. But like.
They haven't shown us anything.
They should push it.
They should a little.
They should push it. I don't think they're going to.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's going to fail.
But they pushed it. They pushed it like a year and a half already.
They pushed Halo a year. Look what happened.
Oh,
nothing good.
Well, hopefully
it's
better there.
But it's going to be in the showcase, right? It's going to have like its own little thing.
Oh yeah.
I think after the showcase.
Well, I think it's got like an hour, doesn't it? Aren't they doing like an hour show?
After the show?
Like I thought Starfield had its own showcase.
Yes,
like,
it's going to its own.
Starfield has its own showcase after the showcase.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope it's not like a Fallout 76 like situation where it's just like, yo, the hype train, and it comes out and everyone's like, oh god.
Yeah, that was rough.
I don't think it's gonna be like that. I don't. But
as an enjoyer of Fallout 76, I would not have like put it on my list of games that would score.
Yeah. But
so who knows? I might really enjoy Starfield.
Right.
In conclusion, But yeah, so we'll just have to see where everything kind of lands this year. But honestly, the first party output seems really for such a strong year so far. The first party output is so sparse. Like I feel like it's Spider-Man, it's Zelda, and it's Starfield, and everything else. I'm like, it's just all third party. Like it's not like any of these first party studios are like have a big line of game announcements. But I guess we should wait till the end of this month to make that call,
Oh
well,
yeah,
Nintendo has
Summer Game Fest.
Pikmin 4,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
At some point though, it's just like, well, PlayStation already had theirs. That was that. Xbox is gonna have theirs, and who knows? I doubt they're gonna have like a bunch of new stuff for this year. And Nintendo, it feels like it's probably time to start winding down and preparing for a Switch 2 launch for next year. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
You think Switch 2 is going to launch next year?
Yeah, maybe end of next year.
I think they'll announce at the end of next year.
Maybe.
2025, early 2025.
Okay.
I will say, in light of all the like bad PR moves on like Xbox case, and like while that was happening, we got like bad news for Overwatch fans. We all know about it.
Oh yeah.
PvE was canceled. The one thing to like really like justify the number 2 on Overwatch, beyond like the jokes of and like the jabs of being like a glorified update, which is what Overwatch 2 was launching as. We were just waiting for this, and the thing is, the developers themselves didn't even want PvE to be shut down. They're definitely gonna like adapt with it. They're gonna like take some elements from PvE into the base game of Overwatch 2 with its online service. But like having an entire campaign scrapped with all these cool like skill trees and like lore, like legitimate like end game lore consistently be scrapped, and now we're back to Overwatch comics or these little events. Like it's just sad. I want to bring it up because like it's something that was like pretty big deal that came out during like last month with the Xbox and everything like that, and God, Activision, I just want to give you the biggest middle finger right now. But like beyond that, God, my respect, my condolences to Overwatch devs and them still pushing forward, giving us an entire roadmap for what's to come for us avid players. And I still think Overwatch is just fun. The game's there. The game is fun. The game isn't always as annoying as some other games like Valorant. But regardless, I just want to bring it up because it is like such a crazy thing that happened, but we push forward, and my sympathies for Xbox. Hope you guys swing hard and punch me in the face with Xbox exclusives. Thank you.
Yeah. I definitely think the Overwatch thing is like it's both a mix of where Blizzard's at and where like live service games are at.
Yeah.
If you're not Fortnite, it doesn't seem very sustainable. Like if you're not Fortnite or Destiny, but even Destiny, like I feel like people are like, I don't know, just make Destiny 3. Come on,
At this point, with all these like expansions, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So it's weird. We're not negative this podcast. We're about to talk about some like really awesome games.
Yeah.
that have come out like a string of games that have not come out since we started this podcast. I don't think we've had such a string of quality games come out. So it's not like we're negative. It's just hard to predict the future and where things are going,
Yeah.
And I guess we just need to all ride out this live service string and hope they figure it out. And it's just like, yeah, we've said pretty clearly that no one wants these. Like, please stop. But we'll see.
I just want to make a quick roundabout. Not just Activision, Blizzard, both of you. That's it.
As well, also as Blizzard puts out one of their, like a really good, well-reviewed.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
game,
right.
Yeah, so yeah, it's very weird.
I'm looking at PR, not like the devs. I'm looking at the other guys. I mean.
Yeah.
Higher.
All right, cool. Well, let's just jump straight into it. I don't want to start with Tears of the Kingdom. I think I'm going to save that for last. But let's start with Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I think at least 3 of us in here have beaten it, which is cool because it means we can talk about it pretty holistically. So you guys all played. Who played the first one?
Me.
I did.
Okay. So
All of
so
you.
most everyone here.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. What were you guys expecting for the sequel? I'm just wondering, like were you just kind of like whatever they give me, I'll play, or were you like, huh, I hope it becomes more like this?
I was hoping it would be a little bit more polished than the first one, but I was really excited for the story, and I thought the first one was really fun. So it was kind of like whatever they give me, I'll be happy with. But I am hoping I don't have to, die at every turn because I can't force pull that rope just right.
Yeah, that first one they had some. The force power seemed a little sketchy at times. Just like I swear I made that jump. I get that. What about you, Josh?
Oh, sorry, I'm having like audio mic issues. Hold on.
Oh
What did you
no!
say?
All right. No, I was just saying, like, before you played the second one, what were you kind of hoping this sequel would give you compared to the first
Ooh.
game?
I wanted to come out of it feeling like I had played a complete game. I felt like the first one it just left a lot to be desired. The environments were very small. There wasn't really as many planets as I expected in the first game. I don't think they solved that issue.
Or they solved it kind of in a different way
Yeah,
than you would have thought. Yeah.
right. But yeah, I wanted them, like she said, just more polished, just take a little bit more time to do to work out the kinks and everything. At launch for the second one, I don't know if they nailed that, but they quickly patched it with over 100 gigabyte of information into my freaking PS5.
Oh yeah, that's egregious. How this game is 160 gigabytes?
It's a big game.
It's a massive. It's bigger than Red Dead 2, bro.
Yeah, it's a huge file.
God.
So yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I enjoyed the first game. I really enjoyed the story. I kind of enjoyed the ride, but there were like aspects of it where I was like, oh, like the combat feels like a little mushy to me. The map is like unreadable. They tried to do like a Metroid Prime 3D map thing.
Yep.
The map's terrible.
Yeah, the map was like made me not want to go back and like explore because I was just like, dude, I can't. I don't know how to get back up now. And there's no fast travel. Oh my god. So yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I was really hoping it would take like a game that I would give like a solid B to like an A. And for the most part, I think they did that for me. So yeah, let's jump into it. So yeah, it came out a month ago, a little rough, obviously, on performance, but they've really patched it up the last month. And I'd say the last half of that game I played, I was like, oh, this is like a much better playing game on my PlayStation, like you said, Josh. So we can just get that out of the way now, except for like a few weird glitches where like cutscenes would bug out or whatever.
Oh, I didn't have any cutscene issues. That's interesting though.
Oh yeah,
I had a too.
Me and Victoria had the same exact one, which is
it was crazy.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. I was like cackling. I was like, I don't know what's going on right now, but that dude is really jumping around.
It was a really serious like moment, and he's just wiggling about like.
Yeah, I think that's what it was for me. I'm like, I know this is like supposed to be a really important story moment, but this boss is like stretching and warping and jumping. I was just like, what is going on? But yeah, I was listening to like a podcast and I was listening to I don't know if you guys have heard of Austin Walker. He worked at a few websites or whatever, but he explained how he thinks about games. I was like, oh man, that's like a really good way to like explain how you feel about a game. And he said like, hey, like when you're thinking about a game, think about like what you're doing every 5 seconds, 5 minutes, like an hour, and every 5 hours. And for me, every like doing the 5-second thing, this game is really fun to control. Like the like moving Cal around, is like you have like a lot of control, like specifically like air control. Just moving him, he just like takes off. It's not like Red Dead where you press forward and it feels like it takes a couple seconds for like the input to happen. Like it's really snappy in a way I would say like a platformer would be. And that's the thing that like kind of struck me first is like, man, this game feels it's really fun to move Cal around. Like there could be no combat in this, and it could just be like a straight up really awesome character like action platformer. And I think the powers you get later on and all the mobility options really like hammers that in later on too.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed getting all of the other abilities toward the end because I don't know, it made interacting with the environment a lot more fun because you could kind of move more than just horizontally. So I really liked that. I'm upset that it took so long. I feel like because every time like I would like look at something and I'm like, what the heck is that? Is that a balloon? Like and I feel like I was doing that for so long in the game. And then you finally get it, I feel like almost toward the end. I feel like it was too far toward the end. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I could have been doing this like for a lot longer.
Well, we just blame that on the Metroidvania inspiration. I mean, like God of War, the 2018 and Ragnarok have the same issue of just like, oh, I can't do that yet. Okay. I guess I'll
and it
later.
would tell you. That's one thing I did like about the map. Is it would highlight it in red. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm glad I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out if I can mess with this. I can't. Or it'll walk up and it'll give you that little like circle and then like the X or like the little hash mark.
Mm-hmm.
The Ghostbusters thing. The map is a lot better. I actually used it. Like
I never got lost with the map.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
It was they really polished that to where it was like functional for the player. And I would use it. I'm like, where am I? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I got it. And then I would refer back to it if I saw something like yellow and I'm like, oh, I didn't go there. Let me go back. So I can like get all the stuff I can.
Yeah. And I would say, so it's interesting too, because the last game really like leaned into like the Dark Souls like design aesthetic, where it's really tightly designed and it's not very open, and you're going between like bonfires and stuff. And this, I think they take in a very different direction. And like we said, it's really fun to control. So the open world areas don't feel like a ton of like just busy work or just like running for the sake of running or whatever, because there's all kinds of platforms and cool nooks to get up to. You have mounts, like there's a lot going on in the couple big open worlds. And what I appreciated the most about it is that for me, I didn't have the time to like complete this game in the same way some people, like a lot of people play open worlds. And it really makes it so, hey, if you want to do the storyline, there's kind of like a path. Like you can play this kind of like a linear character action game. But if you wanted to play it like an open world, like exploratory game, they give you that as well. So I appreciated the choice,
Yeah, you could kind of do what you wanted.
I will say if you do want to like explore the open world, like it still feels smaller than say like Spider-Man. Like, it's gonna be a quick like 100% because I didn't spend too much time like worrying about all that, and I cleared everything.
Yeah, it feels manageable for sure. So just in moment-to-moment gameplay, controlling him is really nice. I would say the 5-minute mark, we can talk maybe about some combat stuff. And the combat was the thing I was maybe hoping they would kind of tweak with the most. And I at first I was kind of like put off by it because I'm like, this doesn't feel like. I was really hoping they would like tighten up the controls, like. Make it a little more like a Souls game, but
what did you use?
Okay, so what ended up?
Did you use the heavy?
I did at one point. Okay. I did near the end.
I quickly ditched it.
Yeah,
I also
go for it.
No, I was saying.
Oh, you did too.
I ditched the heavy as soon as I got it. I was like, I like this. This looks very cool. And then I started messing with it. And I was like, yeah.
So what happened with me is the game clearly wants you. I'm still torn on it. This is the part I'm torn on the most. Is that I think doing the force, like using all the force powers, like doing the moves, lightsaber moves, all that stuff is actually pretty fun, and it's fun to do on kind of the mob enemies, like the droids or the stormtroopers, because it's fun to just force push them off ledges and just rip through them, and that's kind of how I was having fun with the combat, doing it that way. But then it would give you certain enemies or give you a boss fight. It's like, okay, no, now none of your force powers work, and we really want you to parry like it's Sekiro. And the minute it starts doing that, I'm like, dude, this does not feel like Sekiro. Like, it feels sluggish. The moves are really hard to read.
The boss is just like, they're cheap. Like the Ogdo Bogdo was like awful. It just
And so that's the point where I'm like, man, see, this is where it kind of like throws me off. It's like, I want to play it like a cool arcadey like action game, and a lot of it you can actually, and that's fun. And then you'd get to like a harder enemy or a boss fight or something, and it's just like, no, you're gonna learn the parry times, bring down their meters, and like you're gonna play this like Sekiro. I'm like, man, but this isn't Sekiro, and it doesn't feel like it. So so especially the last 2 boss fights, I was just like, man, I don't feel like any of these deaths are my fault. Like sometimes I felt like I hit the parries just fine, and then other times I'm just like, why did I get hit there? Or like it didn't give me enough time to recover after they grappled me, or it's just like, man, I just feel like a lot of the boss fights could have been tweaked to.
Yeah, and I get that. And I think that's probably why I played a lot with the difficulty, because I have a lot of fun fighting with the Force. I really like that. But then when you get to like a harder boss, it really depends on the parrying and getting their like defense meter down, everything. But I feel like if you play on a lower difficulty, then you can use the Force a little bit more, and it's more fun, I think, that way. But I mean,
agreed.
If you're just someone who's like obsessed with the challenge, then I see how that would bother you.
I played on Jedi Master, which is like just below the highest difficulty. I was curious, Troy, what did you play on?
Oh, I just played normal through the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't change my difficulty at all until like I was cleaning up stuff at the end.
No, I want to say I changed it like every hour.
And that's fair, because I did find moments where I was like, why am I doing this to myself? This is not fun.
No.
I think I liked the challenge more when I wasn't doing story missions. I don't know if that's weird. Okay. Like when I was out in the environment and I was like trying to like discover, I would beef it up, because then I'm like, this is a little too easy. Like, this isn't fun.
And the way that they make you like repeat, like where you go into the like boss fights again in the story moments, is kind of awkward.
Oh God, I hate the fact that it doesn't let you. You lose your lock on, and you have to re-lock on, and sometimes it doesn't work. You're like, God.
And like when you're entering the arena again, it's just strange because you're like, they're already there.
Yes.
So it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, like they were waiting.
Yeah. But I don't want to make the impression that I didn't like this game. That's probably my most negative aspect. Is I thought the boss fights and some of the harder, like the times they want you to play it like a Souls game, is it's at its weakest. But I would say this game, like I said it's fun to control. Like when you get all the powers, like the like all the locomotion powers, like the air dash, the double jump.
Oh my God. I felt like so badass. Like I could do anything. And I don't want to spoil it, but when something happens in the story and like when Cal kind of like gets really strong and like just like, yeah, I don't know. I just felt
I didn't like that moment.
You didn't like that moment?
No, hated it.
Oh my God, why?
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Okay, I will say
I think it's very important for a Jedi,
Well, yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. No story spoilers. But I was going to say, to my point when I was saying the boss fight, my favorite boss fight was the boss fight where you didn't have to do any combat. It was all platforming challenge. And I will just say, I don't think it's like a total spoiler, but it totally like just goes full Celeste. Like you're playing Celeste, like you get this power where you dash through something and it gives you your double jump and your dash back.
What the hell? That is Celeste. That's Celeste.
There's a straight up 5-minute boss fight where you never touch the ground.
That's so cool.
And I think it's my favorite moment in that game and my favorite like sequence. And just like I said, like it's almost kind of what I wanted in the newer Ratchet and Clank. I almost felt with all the platforming. Yeah. Like the platforming doesn't feel stiff. It feels so responsive. And I think all the platforming puzzles are really fun to do. Like, it made climbing in games fun, which is weird.
It reminded me of Prince of Persia moments.
Yeah.
How I remember that game feeling when I played it.
Yeah. Yeah, like it kind of reminded me of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, where you're like climbing using the roof, like climbing above you, jumping. And what I liked about the platforming, it wasn't like super handholdy, you know. Like there's some sequences in there where it's just like, wow, that was actually tough for me to like. I could do them, but it wasn't just like I was doing it on autopilot. Like I actually had to think, like, okay, I'm gonna jump, dash, wall run, jump, dash, wall run, grapple.
I think
grind.
There's
it's like, wow,
3
that was cool.
like chambers, like challenge rooms where you have to do platforming. Some of those, I think 2 of those are like just gave me such a hard time.
Well,
I think I died there like the most.
There's one that you're constantly platforming, but you like you're just going back and forth from the wall run and like the dashes, right?
Yeah. You have no moment to like get back and stabilize yourself. You just hope you make 100% it.
So stressful.
Yeah,
but it's really fun. But it's very stressful.
I want to ask y'all real quick, since like Victoria's expectations was really relying on like the story and how it will build upon Cal.
Oh, we'll get to the story. We'll get to the story.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I definitely want to hit up on the story. But before you go, like to what our point is, like it's those moments where you remember, like, oh right, I'm playing a Respawn game. Of course, like the wall running and the motion is gonna feel freaking amazing. Like these are the people that made Apex and Titanfall. Like how it feels to slide in Apex. It's kind of the same thing when you run and grapple in this. It's just like, man, this feels so sticky and good.
They kind of like set the standard for like.
I wish they would just make. Can they just make like a 3D platformer? Can they just make Jack and Dexter? Like that's what I want. I'm just like, God, they nailed like 3D platforming in a way other games that are just made the 3D platform don't even do, So that was my favorite part of that game, is just moving around and navigating the environment. Like nailed it. Like it's really fun to do.
Yeah, it is really fun. He's fun to control. And I also like the way he moves. Like I like the way his character model like.
Okay, yeah, like the animations and stuff.
Yeah, like when you start to run, he like puts his head down and he's like getting into it, like go cow go. I really appreciate it, and he also hits his face a lot. Like when he's just walking, like it's like there's a fly or something in his face. Like, he like hits his face, and I'm like, dude, are you like running through a swarm right now? Because he'll do it like every 10 seconds sometimes, and I'm like,
you
okay.
would think his lightsaber would be like the ultimate bug catcher, right? It's just zip, zip, zip.
Constantly hitting his face. I felt so bad for him.
Well, it's okay. I don't know if this is indicative, like Isaiah was, because I know Isaiah is very story and plot and character. That's something you really enjoy in games, Isaiah. Really and let's get to the plot, because we talked a lot about the game and not a lot about it being Star Wars related. And I think, so a pro for me in that first game is like, I thought all the Star Wars and the character work and stuff was really good. Like all the way through, that was kind of what really got me through the game, even if it was like rough to play in certain parts,
I was the opposite for the first game.
Weird. It's almost opposite for me this game.
What?
I don't think I agree. I think this game is way more Star Warsy than the last, if that's what you're meaning. Like when it comes to like,
no, it's not Star Wars. It's not it being like more Star Warsy or less Star Warsy. I just I guessed like a big twist maybe the first 20 minutes of the game. I leaned over to say, I told Sam, I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen with this character, and then halfway through the game, I'm like, I mean, there's a twist to that I didn't expect as well, but
right, yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that, but I mean, I could have guessed that too. But I don't know.
I didn't let myself think about it.
It didn't bother me that it was a little like you could foresee it,
Yeah.
I feel like we're edging on
story didn't hit me. I don't know. I don't think the main like boss, the main antagonist they showed at the beginning was very threatening or interesting. I was like, all right, Old Republic stuff. Okay, here we go.
I really like Old Republic.
High Republic.
High Republic. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you.
Said. I really like the High Republic stuff in this game. It makes me excited for a High Republic game.
I think I was glad
Maybe
that it wasn't. There wasn't so much of that in there really, and it was more focused on Cal and his story, and that's what I enjoyed about it. That it was about Cal. It was about his journey.
I also don't think. Okay, I'm about to get you guys angry. I also think Cal's kind of boring. So
you think
that's the problem. I think Cal's kind of boring.
I thought Cal was boring in the first game. I changed my mind.
I like BD1.
Okay, BD1 is so okay, but that's not the point. Okay, so like he doesn't have like this like crazy story, you know, like he was just like, and this is from the first game, he was just a Jedi who lost,
was in hiding.
Yeah, who lost his master, you know, and you know, he was in hiding. And I mean, there's nothing that's really like ground shaking about that. But
I like it because he's not a Skywalker or a Kenobi or anything like that. He's just somebody we've never heard of.
I don't think he needs to save the galaxy. Or I think you know,
I think a good way to
you know what actually hurts the story is maybe about a month ago I watched all the way through Andor and I was like, man, that's the single best Star Wars thing I've ever seen. And every other Star Wars person I talk to like has not seen it, and that blows my freaking mind. What is wrong with you? If you're listening,
that's how I feel about Rebels, but that's you have to watch.
Dude, Andor's freaking amazing.
But either way, God. Okay. So what was I saying? BD1, he's very cute.
He is.
So like one of my favorite things that he does. No, this is probably my favorite thing is when you go to meditate, he sits on his butt, like, and he puts his little legs out in front of him, like straight. And his like little toes are like sticking up, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, and he just looks at you. He sits on his butt and looks at you, and I think that is so cute. Like he's meditating too.
The animation work for BD1 deserves an award all in its own.
He's so adorable. I also really like that you can customize. Like I like the customizable options. I feel like I really created Cal. Like. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what?
You did. You really did.
I did. I put him in a nice little, you know, outfit, and I was like, you know, some time has passed since the first one. His hair is probably a little longer, but not too long. So I gave him the windswept hair, and I gave him like I think I don't know if it's the full beard. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then it was just perfect. I felt like it perfectly fit Cal. And I think that's interesting that I can do that, but then someone else can, you know, do something else and then be like, oh, that's the perfect Cal. You know?
Yeah, it's true. When you're working with such a blank slate. No, I can't.
Can you just leave him alone?
He does all the time. He does this every single time. I swear to God.
You know who else is a boring character in Star Wars?
What?
Luke.
Oh,
not interesting. Like, here's the thing about Star Wars: the protagonist is always the blankest slate, so you can kind of put yourself into it.
That's actually like really. That's a very good point.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a pro, but all right.
Very good point.
Which is exactly why Han Solo is my favorite in the trilogy. But,
yeah, that's the thing. All the side characters in this game are amazing. Like everybody I ran into, I'm gonna exhaust all of the dialogue options.
Hey y'all, remember when
really enjoyable?
Remember when I just said they should make a 3D platformer? What if it was a Turgle 3D platforming
Oh my God.
game?
Turgle, like at first I was like, oh my God, this poor frog guy. And then like you learn more about him, you're like he's a little devil. Like,
yeah.
Why is he doing this stuff? I love like you sensing all the echoes, and it's just like, him getting into like shenanigans, and you're like, damn it, Turtle.
He's a schemer.
Yeah. And to be fair, and to be fair with like the story and the characters, I know I mainlined this game more than the game was intended. So I might have missed a lot of like side stories.
Oh, you absolutely
stuff
did.
Like that, which which I will say like, okay, that stuff actually seems more interesting to me than the one-armed dude who just is like perma angry. I don't know. So so that could be a lot of how I'm viewing it as well.
I mean, if you're just comparing the villain to like other Star Wars villains, again, I just think Star Wars isn't full of these like complex, complicated characters. He's just about the same as every other villain that I've seen in a Star Wars film or game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Besides like Darth Vader, like that's the long overarching story.
Yeah, they follow like
Sure.
the same formula.
Yeah.
It made sense.
I mean, I think all Sith are angry, right? Like they're just
All
angry
Sith are
people.
angry. Set. We made the move. It's clear. Oh, what color were your lightsabers?
Good question.
Ooh.
Mine's boring.
Is it
What is it?
blue?
No.
Is it
It's
green?
light blue. It's light blue.
What's
Get off my back.
It's cyan.
Cyan,
I think I had mine yellow and purple. That's
Yeah.
Okay,
Purple.
that's cool.
Okay, so
I did
Skywalker.
switch to yellow a couple times.
Skywalker, Mace Windu, Rey Skywalker.
But yeah. Any closing thoughts for this game, guys?
Actually, I have a question.
Hey, rude.
Sorry, go for it. You go ahead.
My lightsaber was white.
Oh.
I saw that was the most popular of all the colors.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Interesting.
Wow,
And
how boring.
because Ahsoka's coming out.
It's like
No,
you're
those are Ahsoka's.
it's like you're attacking someone with a fluorescent light bulb at all
How
times.
dare you? I think it looks cool as hell.
Thought it was lame.
No, I don't mind it. It's fine. Those stats were funny though.
I like the color orange.
That is a good color, lightsaber, orange.
Yeah. But my close thoughts is just like, I it's not the direction I expected them to go, but just the platforming alone was enough for me to be like, recommend that game to people. I'm just like, man, it feels great to play. When the combat is at its best, it feels arcadey and fun. And, it's a treat to people who like Star Wars, like just want to live in a world with Star Wars. I'm not necessarily that person, but I even enjoyed like a lot of aspects of that, like the bar and everything. So it was a good game. Yeah.
You liked it more than the first game?
Overall, yes. But maybe not as much as I would have. Like
maybe
I would have thought
spots?
like, the sequel to this could have. Yeah. If the combat would have hit just that much more, I think there wouldn't have been much I could have complained about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I feel very similar to you. However, I think my positive feelings are amplified. I can see myself talking about this when we start to wrap up the year. I will say I hope they get away from the Dark Souls inspiration. All the meditation points, they're placed very strangely across the map. Sometimes you go like 2 seconds and find another one. I'm like, what was the point of that? I fought like 2 enemies. Anyway, I hope they just kind of slowly turn it into like a better like Force Unleashed, because that's whenever it shines, is whenever it's quicker. And like get rid of give me some more like force meter to work with, because I feel like I was always running out and I couldn't use the force. Like give me a break.
Yeah.
Let me have fun.
Like I said, I just want that to be a fun arcadey, just like blow everything, almost like Dynasty Warriors. Just throw a bunch of. I mean,
a little more complex than that.
I know. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I agree with you with the Dark Souls stuff. It just kind of shows like, that's like a world-class studio, like design-wise and stuff, and it's just making those games, those types of games, is very difficult. There's a reason not a lot of people try it.
Well,
they just think aspects,
You can't do it in like a half measure. I think that was the problem.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah. You can't make it both arcadey and both like precise.
Yeah.
You can't have both. Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. Well, Colton, I want to hear about, would you rather talk about Octopath 2 or Factorio first?
I say he should talk about Factorio since he's playing it right now.
At this moment.
For some reason, I thought he played Star Wars. I guess I was wrong.
I bought it for the family, but I want to buy it for Victoria first.
Other games.
I'm the only one that played it in the house.
Yeah,
you made the right choice.
I don't see him. So Isaiah, tell us about Hades.
God bless. Supergiant Studios once again heads with the biggest banger of their lifetime. Somehow Supergiant tops their games after one after the next, and Hades is probably their penultimate, like, this is our best product that we've ever made for a video game. And my God, does it deliver. Hades delivers in voice acting, story, lore, progression, and just visuals and sound. God, It's a gourmet of flavors bursting in your eyes, your ears, your mouth. You're tasting something. I know you are. You have to be when you're playing this game. It is just adorable. Like I adore Hades. Hades has the same like sort of like hack and slash from like Bastion, I want to say, you know, that has that, but it changes up these styles through like weapons. So you have swords, you have spears, you have a shield. You can be Captain America in this game. Throw your shield, go bounce off enemies, bounce off like walls, boom, 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 boom. Do a charge, go at them. It's really cool. It's fun for complementing various play styles. Actually, that's the best thing about these weapons. You have a preference for quick in the mix, like in the mix of like fighting enemies all around you. I picked the sword. If you want to like kind of be pokey, kind of like be fast with it, be moving about, it's a spear. If you want to be defensive, shield. If you want to just have a gun with a grenade, yeah, there's a gun and a grenade in a game. Play it. It's awesome. And it makes every like run of this game so much fun. But also, it's a big thing. It's a roguelike. Sometimes roguelikes can be a little draining. It's hard to find a really good roguelike to stick with. But Supergiant was like whole idea with like Hades was that they wanted to make a game where everyone can come back to it always, whenever and anytime they want, really. And of course, with previous games, you beat the games, you beat the story. You might do New Game Plus, but that's it. But this game, it's meant to be replayed. Like meant to be replayed, and it's so much fun. Every run can be unique. The boons this game that are like they will kind of like dictate your runs. They give you certain like amplifies to like your moves, like your special, which is like let's take the sword for example. Sword has a strike. Sword has like a ground pound, and you have a dash attack. That's like your three mostly used like attacks. And boons come in the form of your gods. Hades. Oh, sorry. Let's start with the character, Zagreus, the son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld. That's the synopsis of the game. That's all you need to know. And as you try to escape, each run allows you to communicate with your family. That's Zeus, Poseidon, Artemis, Athena, like every god you can, like about the 9 gods you can think of, like that are part of the Hades like family. Will reach out to you from the heavens and give you a buff to any of your attacks to dictate how you want to go about the run. But the real highlight is how, you know how in Vampire Survivor you loved the idea of combining moves and making even a better move? Let's take example, the dagger with, I think it was a bracer. Dagger is really weak in the beginning, but as you get that upgrade, you can make it towards a non-stop, like 1,000 dagger a mile, like machine gun essentially. And that's what this game has too. Duo boons are what help you like progress through runs even faster and better and more fun. You can take let's say Artemis. One of my favorite builds in this game is crit builds. So she has a heat seeking arrow, she has crits, she has all that, and you can combine that, let's say with let's say like the god of war, forget his name, and like then you have something like with curse. So you have like status effects. You have like this to combine with your crit. You have ways to like even like amplify your crit. Swords can be, and like all your weapons can be upgraded. So like the sword can be upgraded to like a crit build sword. So then you have Artemis build with a crit build already, and boom, you just got yourself a nice critical damage like build already. And man, it is so fun. There is ways like runs can go about differently. You can find like side characters that can help you out with like the run, give you money, give you like, oh, here's upgrades to your boons. Here is like an extra health or extra life pack. Like you can die again and you'll be fine. It's so cool. The bosses are all, and it's never tiring to fight these guys. Even if you understand like their moves, they're still so much fun. But like what's even cooler about this game is that runs don't always feel that long. When you're first starting with Hades, 40 minutes runs, they sound about right. You know, that you're expected. But as you get better at the game, you could probably go up to like 25-minute runs. Like beat the game in 25 minutes. And that's awesome. Now, the gameplay is great. I adore it. It's addicting. It's replayable. You can always come back to it, and there's always content to come back to. You can have an Animal Crossing style like play style where you're going after minerals, where every room you're choosing like, oh, I have 2 choices to choose a room to go in the next. Oh my god, I'm going all over the place. I should talk about real quick.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say let's Because I think at this point, like
so much.
they've shown like they can make like developers now can make really good feeling roguelikes. Like Dead Cells is like an amazing feeling and mechanically solid like roguelite. And I think what Hades does, which I think you're about to get to, is they make the roguelite nature of the game part of its narrative.
Yes.
And that's where that game actually becomes a super giant game and becomes super special.
Yes. You've only been one run of it, right? Like finished a run.
I think I finished a run. I know there's a lot more to it once you do that.
This game, beyond the roguelike, gives you a lot more to do, a lot more content aside. You can do an entire like side like relationship like thing where you develop relationships with these characters and like give them like a gift to like get to know them better, get more dialogue and everything like that. And by the way, the voice acting in this game is amazing. I love voice acting. It's so good.
Yep.
And you can also do, this is something I think Victoria would like, you can customize the House of Hades, which is your starting area before you go out and do a run. You can like get like minerals, and these minerals can be exchanged for, here is towels next to the river of Styx where you emerge from after you die. Here is rugs, here is lamps, here are some cool posters, cool weapons to put up in the chambers. Like there's a lot to do in this game. There's a lot you can do, but it's all of course by choice. But if you want to experience Hades to the fullest extent and be complete and feel like, I am satisfied with my experience, you need to beat the game 10 times, which sounds egregious, but hear me out. Once you kind of get a feel for the game and you've beaten it once and you kind of dive into the duo boons, you understand the mechanics and how you want to go about your runs and like your favorite like gods that you want to build builds from. I start with Artemis. I love crit builds. Gives me good, nice damage. I feel it gives me funny dopamine to my brain, right? Yeah. So after you've like solidified that, you can just keep doing that. There's these little things called charms where it gets you some sort of buff or some sort of like give or take thing to it. But one of my favorites is every god has a charm, and that charm, when equipped before a run, can give you the chance to see that god immediately when you start a run. So that dictates like, okay, this is the build I want to go with from beginning to end of the run. And as you know, I did a crit build, and I love that build so much that when I beat the game 10 times and I did all of it with that build, like halfway through it, I was like, dude, I have won the game 7 times in a row. And all the way to like 10th run, and I beat it. Like, I loved it so much. But the story itself was just so captivating, the voice acting, and just overall, just the writing.
There's writing
of these characters.
There's almost so like good. A lot of Persona social link vibes when you come back. It's just like, I'm building a link with this character because I'm interested in what they do, and I'm bringing them gifts specifically to like unlock more dialogue options and like world
state.
Awesome. It's Hades is all about just being like deceptively deep. There's always another layer that you don't expect, and you're like, God, this game is so immaculately like I don't even like roguelites, and I like can admit like that game is like immaculate. Like
it's immaculate,
That developer was already like legendary before that game came out. Now it's just like, man, they are like on that level. I do put them on the level of like From Software and those kind of developers where I'm just like, man, no one's going to make games like these guys make their games. Like, they're such a special, tight group of people, you know? So.
I loved Hades. I played Supergiant games. I haven't been Pyre, but I will soon. But I know their catalog.
Pyre is amazing. God,
it has like mystical basketball. It's really cool. But,
Pyre is maybe my favorite of their games. Like
I think I'm there with you.
Oh, it's really hard to choose between that and Transistor, which is saying Transistor is actually not a very common one to pick.
No,
but I love the vibe. I think the vibes of Transistor is amazing.
It's just
also,
awesome.
Did you know Darren Korb, the guy does all the soundtracks for that game? He voices Zagreus.
He voices Skelly as well, and he does amazing on both.
And he does Skelly too. It's just like, dude, like that development team are just so multi-talented. All of them. It's just like I said, like no one makes games like them because no one makes games like that with a team of 5 people that are on their like 5th game together. You know, that's why those games come together like they do. But yeah, all right, yeah, no,
Go play
Hades.
Hades.
Yeah, no, and I look forward to playing the early access of Hades 2 this year.
Which, judging by Hades and how its reputation is right now, when it came out full release, the way that game was built was with betas. People constantly tested the game. People constantly was like giving feedback. They were constantly changing it. They were constantly morphing Hades to what it is now, and they're going to probably do the same thing with Hades 2. And I think people should be there for the ride.
Yeah, and I think that's why, I mean, that team specifically is set to do that, because if you had a team of like 120 people, it's really hard to make pivots and make design changes fast. But with their team, I don't know if it's 5 people anymore. It's probably bigger, but it's still 20. A really small team. So yeah, so they can really, there's a really good no-clip documentary on them actively making Hades. It's like a few parts. It's really interesting. It's good. All right. Colton. Let's hear about Factorio.
Yeah, well, first of all, towards the end of that Jedi discussion, my one of the fans on my computer started getting really loud. So then I was down there trying to work on it, and then you started talking to me, and I totally forgot I muted my mic while I was down there under the desk. And then by the time I got up and unmuted myself, I just started talking. So I was like, oh, never mind, I'll just wait. So sorry about that. I think Factorio is a game. I know it's been in early access for a long time.
Wait, it's still in early access?
No. It got released this year.
Oh,
I'm just saying. I know it's been in the works for a long time. My uncle David, he has been a part of it since it started. So he's been playing it for years, and he always talked to me about it and everything. And then I went to his house 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and he let me play the demo. So I played like an hour and a half of it, and I thought it was really fun. Then I just kind of forgot about it. But then recently, like 2 weeks ago, we were at a family gathering, and I saw him there, and he said, you know what, just download the demo tonight. Let me know how you like it, because it finally got released. There's a bunch of new stuff. He's like, there's even stuff that I don't know about yet. So I'm about to, he said, I bought it. So I'm going to start a new game, and I'm going to play with the new stuff that I haven't even messed around with yet. And if you like the demo, I'll buy you the game, and then we can do like a co-op run together. So that's what we did. I played the demo, and I played like 3 hours that night of the demo, and I really enjoyed it. And then he got it for me, so now we're playing it. I will say that game is, I mean, I knew what kind of game it was when I started it, but I think it kept getting more and more like complicated. I think kind of in a fun way. But if you don't know what it is, it's a how would you describe it?
It's like a builder, like a building game, or like a kind of like a RTS, like a building sim RTS.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Yeah. So if you start, now that they've launched the game, you can start like a new game with like different scenarios, But if you just start with like the basic scenario, you crash land on a planet, and your goal is to build a rocket ship to get you back into space, to get you, I think, presumably back to Earth. But you crash land on a planet, and then that's all you got. You have to go mine some coal, some iron. Once you get and some concrete. Once you get all that, you can make a furnace. You throw some coal in, throw some iron in, bam, you have like iron plates. And then you gotta turn the iron plates into gears. And then once you have gears and iron plates, you can make conveyor belts. Then you make conveyor belts, and you can have them run from the coal plant that you made all the way to the iron plant, so you don't have to manually put coal into the burners. And then, if you're tired of running, you can build a water pump to funnel water out of a lake into a boiler. The boiler will make steam. Then you have to make pipes to move the steam to a steam engine. And then once you have the steam engine built, you got to go chop down some trees. You got to build wood so you can make like telephone poles to move power. And you do all this stuff, and then it gets like, I'm actually really impressed with how much stuff you can like what you can do in the game. Like you can make, like in the demo, I just got done with a certain, like every time you play the demo, it kind of separates it into like little levels. Like the first level is basically how to play the basic parts of the game, and then the second one is how to make a conveyor belt system where they're moving together and all this. And then the third one was basically, build an entire like factory and make a car. And it sounds it sounds complicated, but it is way more complicated than it actually sounds because you have to build all these different parts to a car, but you have to have them work on these conveyor belts, and you have to make sure they don't get jammed up together. So you have to build conveyor belts that go over other conveyor belts or under, or you have to put like a mixer to where like two things on a conveyor belt will converge, and then they go to the same machine, so then they can be manufactured into another part, and then that part gets, conveyor belted off to another machine. But all at the same time, these machines, the more machines you build, the more pollution you are putting into your, and they have like charts that you can look at how much pollution you're emitting into the atmosphere. And if you put enough pollution, you're gonna they call them the natives, but really they're just a bunch of like monsters, like giant lizards and dragons. They come out of, they have like bases around. So you also have to build guns and armor and ammo, and you can build turrets around your base to defend yourself. And it's it is a crazy game, and I'm actually very much enjoying it. And playing with my uncle, we only played I think close to like 2 hours together on the co-op level. And because he's been playing forever, he knew what he was doing. He was like, all right, build this coal plant over here. I'm going to build these conveyor belts about 400 yards that way. And you build this water pump, and I'll do this, and I'll build... It gets so complicated so quickly. But I can see myself getting pretty lost in it. So I'm trying to watch myself, because I can lose hours to that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no, it seems like one of those games. So how much of that is like tutorialized? Like, is it kind of like trial and error? Like, hey, you figure out how to do this, and like you're like discovering, or is it like, hey, if you build this, it turns into this, or is it like slowly tutorializing you through its like quote unquote like story mode?
It's not super handholdy with the tutorial. I had a big problem with the tutorial because the game is like basically like one giant like management, because you're trying to manage your entire factory, right? And you have all these moving parts. Once you, like the levels I was talking about, like once you get done with the first level, when it teaches you how to do the basics, it moves you to the next level, and basically it like black screen, and then it opens back up, and then you have a new scenario. It's like, all right, now that you have the basic
so start from the beginning. Gotcha.
Yeah, well, not even start from the beginning. It basically, it starts you with like a working, or like a work in progress factory, but it's nothing that you built. So it's like, oh, now I have to figure out where all these conveyor belts are going to, and so like after I did the car one, it took me to a new like level on the tutorial thing, and it's like, all right, now you built a car, you need to start building these research centers so you can start researching advanced technologies like laser beams and computers. But it took me to a whole new level after I spent like 4 hours on a certain level just to make the car. I had this huge system, and I spent so long making it. It takes me to a new level, and it's like a completely it's like somebody else's
that sounds exhausting
factory. And I'm like, no, I don't know where everything is. I don't know what the heck. Yeah. So that was my biggest problem. Is like you spend so long, and then it takes you to like another factory that somebody else built. Like one of the developers built, and it's like, here, get this. Get this factory up and running. And I have to like relearn where are they getting the coal from? I have no idea. Where's this water pump coming from?
It's like starting a new job.
Yes, it is. So that's why at that point, that's when I quit the tutorial, and I just jumped on with my uncle. So I didn't want the headache. So that was my biggest gripe of the game.
Yeah. I had heard that game is just like so like you can just like get as deep into it as you want. It can, like you said, like you could be playing for 5 hours and look up and be like, oh my god.
Yeah, so, it's pretty dangerous that way.
One of those
for me, at least.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's time. We were holding it to last.
Oh my god!
You guys are going to run the show on this one because I played 2 hours.
Oh my god!
That is
Troy.
What?
I know you had a lot going on.
I ain't got time.
I'm just disappointed.
I did this. If you guys remember, I did this with Breath of the Wild. I got it day one on my Wii U, and then played it like 3 months later. So I was like, I got to play like Persona and Nier and a bunch of other things. Okay, get off my back. And this time I'm like, no, I have to play Final Fantasy, Diablo. Like, get off my back. All right, then that is Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
The best game in 2023, hands down. I'm already locking in my vote for this game. Period. I think it's
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, you better. You actually better. I love this
I wouldn't
game.
say that.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
you played 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I went through 50 hours of that game within a week. So before I start, getting my own brain rotting like I did in Hades, I want to hear Colton, Victoria, and Josh's thoughts.
I wanted to quickly just, how many hours have we put in?
60 overall, almost 70.
I actually just got the Switch because I knew that was going to come up. I have to find it.
I'm guessing maybe like 35.
I'm saying 40 for you.
35?
Yeah.
I think I saw yours was at 40, but it might have been 35. Yeah.
Josh?
Around there.
Yeah, mine currently says 60.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, I think mine says like 80, but it's also off a lot because I leave it running, so it might
Yours
be
says
around.
90.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
So I might be more around like the 75, 80 range.
Okay,
You
so
leave it on that much?
Dude, I mean, I gotta get up and like deal with children and stuff. I stay at home and do that.
yeah, gamer dad.
Gamer dad.
Gamer Dan. So, okay, how do you want to tackle this? Because I think the way I want to go about this is just
Spoil everything.
Okay. Let's preface by saying
Well-
we're not going to spoil, but we will. We might have some innuendos for this, conversation. Is that the word? No.
Innuendo?
Is that the word? I don't know.
I just like how deep do we want to go? That's all I want to know.
I have not finished the game.
Let's
neither have I.
lay the groundwork right now. The three we know two main objectives. Let's just talk about that. There's two main objectives. Is go to the 4 areas you went to in the first game, which, as you know, the Zora's Domain,
Oh, okay.
Gerudo.
Sorry, I'm so like anxious about spoiling stuff.
There are two
Just
main
go to the
objectives
4
known
regions.
after
Go to the 4
Hyrule.
regions.
Go to the 4 regions.
And then there's the 12 tiers of the Dragon Tiers quest. Those are the two main
11,
objectives.
but that's fine.
But
that's after Hyrule. That's after you get on Hyrule. That's it. That's far we go.
right.
Okay, so starting off, from Breath of the Wild, we have all played it, right? We've all been in it. I think we all loved it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay.
have.
You got all the shrines. You got all the shrines. Colin's played it like twice. I played it once, played 70 hours, loved it. Josh has probably played it.
You played it recently, like for the first time, right? Like all the way through, right?
It was like a year ago, but regardless, Tears of the Kingdom. I want to hear what y'all expectations were for this game.
My expectations were very high.
Okay, so you had a lot like hoping for this game. Do you feel like you're satisfied most of that?
I'm not done with it, so I can't answer that fully.
Okay.
But I can say I'm happy with it so far.
Josh?
My expectations, it was strange. I think until about maybe 3 months before the game came out, I wasn't expecting it to blow my mind.
Right.
But I have 2 young children, and one of them was very excited for the game, so like it was a little contagious. And as it got closer and closer, I was like, okay. And I pre-ordered it, and that's all we talked about for like months up until release. He's like, when is it coming out again? I'm like, you still got a little while to wait. But when the day we got it, it was just like we got it really late. We came home, we popped it in. He played like the first couple hours, and I was immediately taken back by like how little I knew about the game. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so a lot of surprises. But I think just to get to like the biggest negatives, which I think are not that big of a deal, out of the way, is the shrines. The fact that there are shrines again.
Okay.
And the fact that there are Korok seeds again.
Interesting.
I think that's what most people are going to be kind of bummed by. If you were tired of that by the end of the first game and were expecting them to kind of change up the formula, they don't. In that one.
That's true.
section.
That's a big thing. I feel like a lot of what Breath of the Wild did with its core like driving motivations for getting through the game. That's like the joy of discovery. That's freedom to go to the objectives at any time you want in any order, but finish them in a similar fashion, almost like terminals are still there. There's dungeons, of course, but the dungeons are a lot more stylized than like
you mean like the equivalent to the Divine Beast, right?
yes, the equivalent to Divine Beast specifically. But as far as like shrines, Koroks, they're still there. But I would like to say, I think the biggest plus this game had was that Koroks and shrines are mixed up with shrines and the new mechanics of the game. I feel like they're a lot more fun to play through. Some of them are really quick. Some of them are legit like combat, like
the
oriented.
combat are better than the combat in the
yeah,
first
they
game.
are.
Yeah. They're oh god, it's so cool. Can we just talk about how they looked at Breath of the Wild and they said, let's do that, but like let's treat it like a draft, and let's say this is like what it should look like in reality. Breath of the Wild was just like the scratch of the surface, and how Tears of the Kingdom like blew it up. First off, your abilities. You have the magnesis is changed to legit any item you can carry, you can pick it up. Your hand is entirely like what your pad was.
Well, even some that you can't carry.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's like beyond just metal. It's boxes. It's legit like giant boulders. It's so cool. They have this ability called Ascend. It makes traversal through like climbing massive mountains like much harder. Like it used to be like really difficult in the first game because like your stamina was what really dependent on it.
Now, I thought Ascension seemed really stupid at first. That was my first impression. I was like, okay, how is this going to be besides like getting up things quickly? And then I'm like, oh, they designed the game around it.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick question for you guys. Do you think all these new abilities, like, biggest problem I had with Breath of the Wild, I just felt like there was a lot of downtime between the stuff I thought was really great, like shrines and Divine Beasts and all that. Do you think like Ascend and all the building stuff, you can traverse the world a little easier?
Absolutely, and it's beyond just that. Okay, let me.
Okay, well, no.
Go ahead.
Victoria first.
Okay.
So as someone who's played about 40 hours, no. I have not gotten to that point where getting from point A to point B is more efficient. I mean, I think the only thing that I can think of that's really helped is doing one of the freaking regional things. That's helped. I don't have that skill yet that you can just what's it called? Auto build?
I don't think you need it.
I don't have it.
That's my least favorite skill in the game.
So
I think it's useful.
I mean, I don't just build cars. I'm not. I don't know. Are you guys doing that? Are you guys building cars to get around?
I think we're both very excited to talk about it. I think that you can be so creative with what you can build to get around, and that's what makes it not feel like there's as much downtime. Not that it takes you less time to get to places, but the journey there is more interesting.
It's a lot more fun. I will say, in Breath of the Wild...
What if I'm not very creative?
I don't think you have to be. You can scrap together the dumbest thing, and failing at it is funny.
It is super funny. Also, without giving spoilers, the auto build thing, there are like there's kind of like template or
I was just gonna say you get schematics.
So
I don't.
That helps.
I don't use them. I think it's stupid.
But also,
you got to spend a currency that you need elsewhere. I don't do it. You're gonna waste your money or that currency you're gonna regret it because you could have upped one of your stats basically in the game with that currency.
Well, I found that to build the currency from scratch, it does to build like one of the templates from scratch, it does take a little bit of that currency, but I think if you use like those building stations that have like all of the materials just like sitting there. If you like use that with it, it'll cut it down like 3/4.
Yeah, but if you're talking about a schematic that uses the devices and not necessarily like the building materials, and you're using it in like if you're not using it in the proper sections, you're not going to have any of that stuff lying around unless you pull it out of your inventory, in which case you're just expending those resources anyway.
That's true, but I also kind of think...
it works for the thing if you already have the material, yes.
Yeah.
If you don't, which I'm going to say 90% of the time, you are not going to have the materials you need right next to you.
And for audio listeners, we're talking about how the rebuild, like functionality, like the ability, if you're having the right equipment and materials that you've already like made before and it remembers it in your ability, like it has a history of it. If you just like have the materials, it builds it for you. If you don't, it expends, of course, material, but material itself that you use to build it, if you don't have like the wood or like the devices you need, it's from places that you can easily find, especially in an area in Hyrule that like is basically like a mine shaft where you can find it. And I don't think you're gonna ever run out of this material. It's not a bad thing that you're gonna use it to rebuild your things with the rebuild function. I think it's a great substitute for it to be used, because if you break apart the build, it's gonna destroy the substitutes with that material, right? So it's not a caveat. I don't think so.
Okay, I guess what I should clarify. It's not a bad ability. It's just if it wasn't in the game, I don't think the game would be lesser. In fact, I think it would encourage you to continue to be creative.
Yeah. Well, I think the main reason I was really excited when I found out about it is the first couple hours of the game, or maybe like the first 20 hours of the game, I just spent I barely had any of the actual Zonai devices to use. I had like the real basic stuff. I would spend so long building like something, and you know it would take forever for me to figure out how to get it to work, and then it would work, and I'd be like, oh my god, that's freaking awesome, and I would like drive this pickup truck that I made all the way to a shrine, do the shrine, and then I walk out and it's gone. So yes. I like the idea of I can spend a lot of time building something, and even if I have to spend a little bit of that currency to build it later, I don't have to spend all that time gluing all 50 pieces together in the right order again.
You can only save 8 things. So
yes, I know, yeah. And that's why I am excited about it more than anything. Just
I guess we're spending too long on this section. Yeah, it's a good ability if you want it, and if you don't want it, you can ignore it.
Yeah.
Here's the game really encourages
this game for me. It worries me. Like there's a reason I stayed away from Death Stranding. It's because I was like, man, this seems like a chore. Like this whole game seems like a chore, and there's a part of me that's like, I know there's really cool stuff in this game. I love the shrines just like I liked it from Breath of the Wild. The story content looks a little more involved this time in a way. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's the way trailers made it look. Like the bosses and stuff. But it's just all the in-between has me worried. It's like, man, it's going to feel like a chore to like build something and make it work. And like, oh man, I had an hour to play this game. Like, am I going to spend that entire hour trying to get up this one hill and be like, well, that was that, you know? That's what I'm worried about, but
so
maybe.
I mean, I don't feel like I have that build bug in me. I don't have that. So I don't think I'm spending a lot of my time the same way that I don't think that like that Josh and Colton
I don't build it like Colton was just describing. Like I was saying, I scrap things together out of like just as few pieces as possible.
Yeah.
Because I will build what is.
I like to do the most pieces possible.
I will build what is needed.
Yeah.
Like obviously, if I can't get up there, I'm gonna put a hot air balloon and get up there. You know, like I'm gonna do that. But I do not build something just so that I can get to the shrine over there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just because I don't know. It's just me. I don't.
I want to take this.
I think the building is cool. I think the building is cool. I think it's a really. I just I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not the audience for it. Just because.
No, I'm with you because I'm not big on like survival or crafting or like those are the things I stay away from in games.
Survival.
You
know?
It doesn't feel like that. It's just I don't know how to explain it. Because I'm agreeing and kind of disagreeing at the same time.
No, I get you. There's
Like-
simple solutions for problems. What you're saying, like
Yeah,
you don't have
like
to spend
I
like
will
45 minutes building a car when you can
no.
just
No,
you know.
Oh, that's Factorio.
so well, I mean, like I watch Colton, and that's what Colton does, and
I think Colton's weird.
I, but it's just like,
Yeah.
and then I see like YouTube videos or whatever the hell, and like there are people are making like this crazy stuff, and I think it's super cool that you can do that. I just know I'm never gonna do that, and I'm not, and I'm okay with that. Like I don't feel like I should miss out because I don't really want to do that.
And that's okay, because Tears of the Kingdom's design, like Breath of the Wild, revolves around like that immersive sim where you can do what you want to do. For example, we all know.
I mean, I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah,
do
and
you still?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. Do you still like if there's like a puzzle in front of you, if it's like an environmental puzzle, and you're like, how do I get up there? How do I get to this crevice off in the distance that I like? Do you then look around for the materials that you need to like scrap together, like a hovercraft or a flying device?
If I need to, I'll use the little bird thing with the fan. I'll do that.
And so as long as you're doing that, I think you're fine. Like that's what I do.
Like if I'm on the ground and I need to get to something else on the ground, I'm not gonna build a car. I'm just gonna run there. It's really, or I'll fast travel.
Interesting.
That's just I think it's the I don't know.
I'm with
maybe
you, Victoria. I think we'd play the same.
It's the terrain, maybe. I don't know, because I've done it before where I've built something. I'm like, all right, let's try this, and then I'm like, do. Oh, here's a hill. I guess I'll leave it here. That was like, you know what I mean? Like
I guess slight spoilers mechanically. The big wheels you need to get over hills. The small wheels won't do it.
Right. And I don't have that yet. So, and I don't even have the freaking stir stick.
Okay. You'll be fine. I think you're early up. I think you're going to discover that there's so much more things you can do with the building. Like that's not going to be like more involved. Just like more opportunities to solve puzzles in like fun, clever feeling ways.
Yeah. I just wanted to voice the idea that like, I mean, not every player is like so gung ho about it. Like,
oh, so you hate the game?
No, I know. I'm talking about the building aspect.
Oh, okay.
Of the game, I really like the game. I just
so why do you like it?
I like it because I like the story. I like the free world, like the free roaming. Like I can go wherever I want to. I don't know. What do you mean? Why do I like the game? I like.
Well, okay, what do you like about it that's different from the first game?
I like the multi-level environment. Like
never heard of it.
The verticality, yes.
The verticality.
Okay.
Like I like the Sky Islands. I like the depth. I think that's really cool that they added that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times using that verticality as a solution can be fun and helpful as like to avoid just running across a field.
I agree.
Well, and that's also true. Like if I'm trying to go somewhere far, I'm just gonna fast travel to the nearest tower.
Yeah.
And then
totally.
So I'll do that.
and then once you'll find that you end up exploring like higher up as well,
exactly.
like by doing it.
And that I really enjoy.
And that's like the fun part about Tears of the Kingdom. It's just that everything you see, everything you do, every step of the way, even from going from point A to point B, you're always gonna have a moment where you're like, oh, but that looks cool. There's a cave there. There is this side quest I can do. There, you can go to the Sky Islands. Yes, I do this a lot. I go to the tower. I use the Sky Islands for traversal specifically. I use it to get to the next tower if I haven't discovered it already, or if I just want to get to another point. And I'm like, dude, wait, there's a shrine here. There's a puzzle here. There's an entire geometry like puzzle I can do here. I can get some more like devices to add to my collection. There's so much, and there's like these giant like architects where you can like just do a puzzle in there. You can find a shrine there. There's so much to do, so much to see, so much to go, so much up in the backseat.
And really fun like little side quests. You find
right.
The characters around Hyrule are just, as in the first game, just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about Breath of the Wild that you loved, which is that joy of discovery, is enhanced, amplified, and just nourished in Tears of the Kingdom. If you didn't like Breath of the Wild to begin with, you're not gonna like Tears of the Kingdom. You're not gonna appreciate for the same reasons that we do right now, which is the fact that we just loved going for like finding these like little details in the world that made it feel so full. It's not the theater set piece design of Elden Ring, but it feels like a world that's alive.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna find a lot of things because like Breath of the Wild for me, like when it's high, it's like super high. But when it was low, I was just like, oh, this is a bit of a drag, you know? And I feel like I'm gonna hit those same points here, but maybe maybe the highs could be higher, and maybe I was hoping the lows could be solved by, you know, like you guys said, building or ascend or just different options within the environment. That's what I'm hoping, anyways.
Yeah, true. I didn't love the first game when it came out.
Okay, it was like my number 5 the year it came out. Like to put it in context, you know. But or maybe like my number 3 or 4. It was high either way. I really like Breath of the Wild, but I think more of my anxieties just come from because when I say it's like it's big, it's tight, it's just like, man, I have like less than an hour a day to play right now for like the first time in my life.
That's fair.
So when I hear people talk about it, I just get anxiety. I'm like, man, no, I'm just gonna play Diablo. Like if you play Destiny, then you know exactly what Diablo is like. It's just like, no, I'm gonna do something that feels good every second you touch a button. You know,
I don't like that comparison.
Well, I think Diablo is better than Destiny, but continue.
I think that with like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild is that it's so fun in the moment, regardless of what you're doing. I think the thing is just that it does consume a lot of time. So when you're playing Tears of the Kingdom, and you do have time to play Tears of the Kingdom, when you do, of course, you will see the hours just
there will be a
slip.
point. It's just a game I can't. The way I play games a lot of times is I like to mainline, you know, and it's just not a game you can mainline. It's just not.
Well, he doesn't have time. He just
I mean,
no, but he's saying he does that like normally.
I beat Breath of the Wild in 40 hours.
Dude, don't do that.
You know, like I blow. I mean, it's just how I play games. Like I saw pretty much everything to see in Elden Ring in 80 hours. You know, like,
I think this is the worst possible game to mainline.
I know. That's what I mean. I know for a fact I'm not going to have a good time if I'm just like, man, I've been playing for an hour and all I've been doing is like on this one island. God, you know. So I'm going to give it proper time.
to emphasize that point, I spent a lot of hours in it, right? And we talked about how there's the 4 things kind of like in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
I've done one of them.
I've done 2 of them.
I've uncovered the entire map. I've done one of those 4 things.
Oh, dude, in your timeline, I would have beat that game like 30 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't do that to yourself.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a lot of times games overstay the welcome.
Well, okay, and I guess for me personally, that one thing has been the weakest part of my journey so far.
No, yeah.
The journey itself is like so much more fun than rather just getting to like, the actual destination.
I just don't want to.
I agree. I like when I say the highs in Breath of the Wild they weren't the story modes. They weren't the divine beasts. They were when like, you know, Mildew got stuck down a waterfall and I had to make ice barriers and he fell through the cracks.
Why'd you name your horse Mildew?
Probably because he always falls in water. I don't know. He died. He died doing what he loved.
I will say the thing is with this game is that it does have a lot of similar like objectives. I would say almost pretty much the same objectives of Breath of the Wild with like I guess I should say this. God,
I mean, don't. If you're questioning it, don't worry. I mean,
okay.
The thing is, like, the game's not like mysterious to me at this point. Like a lot of it I get is like the discovery and like solving a solution in your own unique way.
You know what
seems to be the crux of that game, and it's hard to spoil in that way. So
I will say, besides the 4 areas you go to in the game, once you reach Hyrule, like once you come down to Hyrule and like you get off the Sky Islands and you're now like actually setting on your quest. It does give you the 2 objectives. Of course, you have the 4 main areas, and then the Dragon Tears. Out of the time, the 2 areas I've been to and finished them, with the 4 main objectives like the Divine Beasts. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool, and it gave me something really cool to do while exploring the main world.
Yep.
Right? And I enjoyed it. I don't think it was fully satisfactory when finishing them. However, I would like to say the other main objective, which is the Dragon Tears, made me cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's purely story. It's purely story. It's purely exploration. You find these things.
Well, I just want to say, like, they did the exact same thing they did in the first game. Like, I hear all these people talking about how the story is better in this game. It's the same thing.
Yes,
it's the exact same structure. I don't know what people are talking about.
It is the exact same structure. Like, again, if you love Breath of the Wild, you'll love
If you're okay with Breath of the Wild story being kind of halfway absent, then sure, you'll be fine.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
No one talks about Breath of the Wild story. Let's be real.
No, and I don't think anyone's going to talk about this story.
Actually, I disagree. I think with this story, with especially the tiers,
everyone with Hyrule Astoria on their like coffee table will talk about this story. No one else will.
The freaking goat people are weird. That's all. Whatever.
I think they look great. But anyways, the tiers again. Just like I think the biggest highlight for this game for me had been like that I found a third main objective that you guys don't know about, but I also know that the tiers objective already was just. It was the story I wanted. It was the story that I wanted to like be soaked in, care about, and want to see what happens next. Because I do care about that. I do care about that when playing games. When it's just a fully like only combat like oriented game, I'm cool with it too. It's so much more fun that way. But when there's characters, when there's plot, and when there's lore, Zelda. When there's lore in Zelda, I need to be satisfied. And the tiers objective, I think fully satisfies that, and it brings the highs for the story that I feel like people are like when they talk about the highs in the story, they're talking about those moments, and they're so cool and just God, they make you care. But as for like the main objective for like the 4 areas, like it just doesn't hit as hard as that. But it still makes you care, and it still makes you like motivated to even like progress with the story and finish the game. Because with just doing the tiers objective, that made me want to finish the game. And that third secret objective that you guys don't know about will make you want to finish the game even faster. I love Tears of the Kingdom. It's one of the most fun, expressively like freedom to play games. To play, not free to play.
Can I just ask? I mean, I from what Isaiah sounds, he sounds like he's pretty on it. Is it like as people who like really loved Breath of the Wild, is this kind of like everything you could have wanted or more, sort of thing?
Yes, but at the same time, it's not completely there with the main objective and the main present time. That's how I'll put it.
I feel lied to again with the trailers. I think they did the same dumb trick, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So if you wanted something different in that regard, I'm sorry. No, the cool stuff happens in the past. But when you do see it, it still impacts you in a way that matters.
It is, everything is slightly better in this game, but it follows the same formula.
Exactly. Yeah. But it made me never want to go back to Breath of the Wild. I want to stay in Tears of the Kingdom. I love this game.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What about you, Victoria? Because I know you put a lot of time in Breath of the Wild.
Sorry.
Do you feel like? I
sure did.
Yeah. Do you feel like this is like a different enough and satisfying? Is it satisfying the same itch, or is it like, wow, this is like a better, newer thing in like every way possible? Like, not every way possible, but in more ways than you would have thought.
It is better in ways I didn't think, or haven't. I didn't even consider, like I really think they added a lot to the environment, and I really enjoy like just like independently kind of free roaming and finding different things. I wouldn't say it's like scratching a different itch. I feel like it's kind of similar. Yeah, I mean, it's the same formula. Like everything is really is reminiscent of Breath of the Wild, but I guess I'm okay with it. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
I didn't think they were going to revolutionize how they were going to do it. Like, I didn't even consider the fact that there wouldn't be shrines. I feel like I assumed that there would be shrines, but I guess if I thought that there was a chance that there wouldn't be, I'd be like, oh, like really, what kind of game would this have been? But I honestly didn't even consider it.
Yeah, and it's asking a lot of. It's asking a. Oh, sorry.
I really like the new world. Like,
Mm.
I think it added a lot to it. It's really interesting. I feel like I've played Jedi Survivor and I've played this game probably the same amount. And I have a lot less to say about this game because I just don't feel like I'm far enough. Like I feel like I'm pretty good with Jedi Survivor. I'm like I know that game. I get it, but I just don't feel like I'm far enough. And in Tears of the Kingdom, but I've spent the same amount of time. Like I want to say I put 40 hours into both of those games. Like I think that's kind of weird. But I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I spent over 100 hours. I know that on Breath of the Wild to really kind of get a good understanding and like a good love for it. I think it's going to take me probably around the same time for this one.
Yeah, fair enough. And to your guys' point, like you can only make Zelda, make the first Zelda open world game once.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was kind of a lot to ask to be like, man, is this gonna be just like even bigger than Breath of the Wild or give you that like sense of emotion? Like no, but the things they put are surprising. Like I would have never thought they took it in the direction they did with the building and combining. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When the game comes out and looking back at it and being like, oh man, yeah, this is like, there's almost like no other path in your head. Like, of course they were going to like lean on the physics and all the crazy stuff people were doing in Breath of the Wild and take it to the next level. But in the same way, it's like, yeah, it's like Breath of the Wild, but to the next level. So it may seem like kind of harsh when you're like, compared to the first, you feel like as revolutionized, like, is this revolutionize Zelda for the second time? I'm like, that's probably not fair, considering it is a sequel and or I calling it an expansion is like,
that's ridiculous.
Way more than that.
That's so stupid. I feel like when people were like, we're getting previews of this game, I watch a few reviews, like, no, not even reviews, previews of the game, and they're like 10 or so hours, and they're like, I don't think I can justify the $70 price tag. And I'm like, no, dude, you just haven't seen it all. There's so much more to this game, like there was in Elden Ring. Like, you think Elden Ring was big? Dude, it gets bigger. It's so cool. But same with like this game. It's just like Tears of the Kingdom just never stops with its surprises, never stops with its little moments of like ahas and like whoas, and like, like it's a beautiful game in that way. It's just so cool. But
you were too good at that, Isaiah. Continue.
Sorry, but despite my continuous brain rotting and gassing up this game, and rightfully so, but I want to hear, Colton, you played the first game, you loved it, you played it twice even. I want to know
2 hours.
For the guy who has a creative mind as you have, I want to hear how your experience has been.
I mean, I'm getting way more aha moments with this game than I did the first game.
Yeah.
I think I'm liking this game a million times more than the first game.
I'm smiling so hard right now.
I think what I really liked about the first game is that for like the first time ever in a game, I feel like you could come up with like any solution to any problem that you can think of. And I thought that was like the ceiling kind of in a way. And then I think this game came out and I think they're like, all right, I feel like now you can come up with way more options. I think like with the building stuff that I've seen, I think you can come up with even more things come up with more personal ways to solve your own problems. And I think, and I can't believe that I'm saying that because I was trying not to have crazy expectations because I really liked the first one. I thought it was a game changer. And then I got really disappointed when I heard that they were reusing the same map. And I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. Like,
right.
That map was really cool, I guess, but I don't know if I want to really play through that whole thing again. And then I was like, oh, but they're adding, floating islands. And I was like, okay, that could be cool, but that doesn't, I mean, if that's all they're doing, that doesn't change the entire map on the ground level. Like, am I just going to have to walk through all that again? But I think they did some really cool stuff that I'm liking. And then, obviously, I mean, we've already mentioned the depths, and the depths was like a crazy surprise for me. and that was crazy to. I mean, the first time I found the entrance to the depths, I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna dive in there, and I fell for like a whole minute. It was way deeper than I thought. And then I hit this ground that I couldn't see, and then I died, and I was like, oh, there's something down there.
It's like that Elden Ring moment too.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this game is better in every way, personally. Story-wise, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess technically I would say it's better because there have been, I guess, more cutscenes with dialogue in it, and so I mean,
there's certainly more of it.
Yes, I haven't seen a whole lot of yet. Like the dragon tears that Isaiah was mentioning, I didn't even know there was a specific order you do them in because they kind of unlock cutscenes. And Isaiah was like, no, don't do that one. That one's out of order.
No, you can do it in whatever order.
You can, but I don't recommend it.
I was fine. It didn't.
Well, and that's what and Isaiah was like making a huge deal out of it, and I was like, what's the deal? He was like, oh, you're gonna view the cutscenes out of order. And I told him, I was like, I'm not doing this for the cut. I don't give a like. It's like, I don't care. Like, if Zelda dies, I'd be so cool with that. I'm like, cool, we can stop worrying about her then. We can go build some more stuff. So, I mean, story-wise, it's really just, I mean, well, it kind of makes me wonder. I was like, I just imagine, like, a game, like, gameplay-wise on this level, but story-wise also on this level. It's hard to even imagine what something like that would be, I think.
No, not with a Nintendo. With this game, they did the same mindset where it's like, we put the game first before we put the story. And that's fair. Yeah. That's completely fair. And then they should keep doing that to an extent. I will say, as a legitimate, as a jaded Zelda fan, I'd say that, like, as someone who knows the lore and knows it not by heart, but enough to where I'm like, I know where to put this in the timeline and these events. It does rack my brain where I'm like, some of it doesn't make sense in the actual, like, Zelda lore and its whole thing. And, like, it shows that, yes, game before story. And if you're, like, a long time fan of Zelda, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when you get to those moments, you'll still love and appreciate them because the game is still, like, amazing regardless of, like, the little details, little grievances we have with it.
I just think it's crazy. I mean, like 3 hours into the game, I picked up a boomerang and I fused it with another boomerang, and it named it Boomerang. And I was like, "This is the best game I've ever played. This is amazing. I can't believe I'm playing something like this."
You can combine anything with it. It's so cool.
I just think I think they made something special, and I think they made something more special than Breath of the Wild. Personally,
they did. They really did.
It's really different.
Beautiful, Colton. That's beautiful.
I'm glad you said something. I felt like I was negative, and I didn't mean to be. I just wanted to get the negatives out of the way.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
You know what? I can I add one more negative?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I don't like the name.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I actually really like the name.
I love the name.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't like abbreviating it.
I love Breath of the Wild.
Wild
was like, so good. And then when they announced Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, Tears of the Kingdom?
I love it. I don't know.
I'm not feeling it.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's better than Breath of the Wild, but
they really leaned into the tier thing too. And I was like, I get it. Really trying to sell it to me.
Yeah.
But I maybe that's just because I really loved Breath of the Wild. I felt like I was kind of disappointed when they announced the name.
I think whenever Breath of the Wild was announced, I don't think everybody was on board immediately. It was like,
really?
Breath of the Wild? What does that mean?
Yeah. But it really was like once you got it and you're like, oh my god, this is
so
right, they really like leaned into it.
Yeah,
calling it the Wii.
And I think that's another way that they disappointed me. I think is Breath of the Wild. It was a really good name for the game. It was like go out in the wild and do whatever you want. And look, there was a story over there, kind of. And then Tears of are they gonna make me like that? Sounds like a good story game name, and then it kind of wasn't, or at least not yet. I mean, I'm not that far into it, but
were you hoping it would be like more dark because of that?
Yes, dude.
Yes,
and like, and I liked the opening, the little. I liked the opening, and I was like, whoa, this is gonna get cool, and then it hasn't really gotten even close to that yet.
I feel like in terms of like the actual like what's the word? I guess dark tone that they promised before release, like close to Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask, they deliver it in moments. Not every time, but I feel like with certain enemies, like encounters, the depths, and I think the way they finish off with the Dragon Tears quest, I see it. I see what they were trying to do with those. And I see how they actually like nailed it for me. May not have nailed the same for you guys. Honestly, like my lens is a lot different from your lens when I finished the Dragon Tears quest. But I feel like that dark tone, I got that from especially finishing that story-rich quest. Yes, 12 tiers, but like still, there's a lot to take in. I really appreciate it. So I think the dark tones are there. They're just not Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess level. You're gonna want to go play those games instead, where the story is like much darker.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if they went darker. And this is from someone coming from, my favorite Zelda is probably Wind Waker.
Right? Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I want a dark and gritty Zelda. I was like, nah, Wind Waker's like my favorite, like of that series. So, but yeah, I see where you guys are coming with this. Yeah. Anything else, guys, to wrap up Tears of the Kingdom?
We are all loving it, and we will play more.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I know they get a lot of flack, but I really like those twin Koroks that you have to reunite.
I do too.
I do like it because I like to make things, and sometimes it's not just I need a little bit more than I want to get from point A to point B. I kind of if it gives me like a little bit of an objective, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll make something since this guy wants to get over there.
I like it most whenever it doesn't seem obvious at first glance, where I'm like, oh, how do I get him over there?
Yeah, sometimes I've already run into like 10 of them. Then it's just like across a really long field, and I'm like, okay, I can just pick you up and go that way. I guess.
Yeah, that's really slow.
I'm like, I'll just pick you up.
That's whenever I want to be able to use the Breath of the Wild ability to like stasis and just hit him a bunch, just sling him across the field.
Yes, I find myself missing that ability.
However, I think the solution to that is one of the saves that I have in my auto build. It's just like a really long piece of wood with a stabilizer on the end of it. So I just, if I don't want to walk them that far, I just make this huge slingshot. Yeah, and it's so funny every time.
That's great.
I do love those things.
It is funny. Fling anything, honestly, in any capacity, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, as someone who's only been watching like Tears of the Kingdom stuff from like videos and hearing you guys and seeing secondhand gameplay, I'm having a weird like existential thing with it. It's like I feel like I should be having so much more FOMO from not playing this game than I do, but I don't. And I think why it is because this game on paper is not a me game. It just straight up isn't. Like there's just so much things about it that I'm like, okay, I like a linear, tight, well designed, mechanically sound, like instantly like, ooh, that feels good kind of game. That's kind of where I generally like to sit, and that is like Tears of the Kingdom is kind of none of that.
Well, neither was Breath of the Wild, though.
Yeah, neither was Breath of the Wild, and I still enjoyed that game quite a bit. And there's a part of me is just like, man, do I need to not play this game? Or am I getting everything I need to get out of it by just like just like hearing and watching and stuff? And I know in my head I'm like, that's wrong. I think I would. I know that's wrong. I know if I like problem solved myself and found solutions and kind of weird stuff happened to me, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's the stuff I remember this game for. But just the nature of the game, part of me is just like, man, there's gonna be a period where there's gonna be like a drought of games, and I'll be like, okay, Breath of the Wild time, here we go. And right this month is not that month.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a game I can safely put off and then come back to it, enjoy it, and feel like I didn't miss anything. And that's usually opposite for me. I get really bad FOMO. That's why I play. I think that's a lot of reason I play and watch so much stuff. It's like, man, people are
Yeah, me
talking
too.
about this, and I want to know. I just want to know. And I feel like I'm like, I know, and I know I would enjoy this. It's just a different feeling. Whereas, like, I'm about to get married a week before Final Fantasy 16 comes out, and I might not survive, but it's fine. I'm gonna get married. It's better than Final Fantasy, but.
How dare
Well,
you?
There's like a part of me. I'm like,
It's
oh
recorded.
my god, I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna get to play Final Fantasy friggin' 60. All right, but yeah. So
Oh my god.
for me, I'm gonna. Don't worry, I'm not worried about it. But there's just so much other stuff coming out. So I think I'm gonna hold off. I'm not crazy enough to think that a Switch 2 is gonna come out with upgrades. Like that means I'm playing this game in like 2 years, and by then I probably wouldn't even care at that point. I'm like, it's gone. It's in the past. But yeah. So I am looking forward to playing this game. The 2 hours I played was really fun. Even that little tutorial island and stuff, I was like, wow, that bird was fun to like fly down. I bet that'd be fun, like even 20 times in,
You finished the tutorial?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like at the very end of it. I just got the rewind time function.
It took me a long time to do that. Because I tried to do like
Me
everything.
too.
I took my time on that.
Me too. I love that
dude,
island so
I
much.
beat that in under 2 hours.
Did anybody miss the shirt?
Nope, I got the shirt.
The shirt?
Good.
Where you get ascend and you get the
To match your leggings you start
ice
with.
blocking.
Oh yeah, I got the.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you get the pants?
Don't you start with the? Oh no, the pants are just really obvious.
No, I actually don't think I got the shirt. If I'm thinking about it right now.
It's like are you talking about? It's like the shirt with
like
the
green
shoulder?
like toga thing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I actually don't think I got that.
I should go back then.
Yeah, his
go get
nipples
that.
are showing.
Do it.
Spoilers,
All right.
you can't upgrade it, which is very frustrating.
All right.
I
Well,
hate that you can't upgrade everything.
All right, well,
I was gonna say before we're gonna end the Tears of the Kingdom talk, and before we do that, and before we wrap up this episode, I just want to know because it's gonna be probably I don't know the next time we're gonna be able to get to record. So just telling you guys now with everything going on. But if we don't, what are you guys planning on playing the next month? Because I definitely just because we're Diablo lands, me and Sam specifically are gonna play that. She's out of town, so it's like the perfect game.
I won't have it for probably a week, maybe 2, but that is the next game I plan on diving into.
Is it coming to Game Pass?
No, because they haven't finished all that.
It is cross-play completely, PC, PS5, Xbox. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna hold off a minute. I'm not even a Diablo fan to begin with, so I'm cool with just waiting. No, I never played Diablo or Minecraft Legends, which
Diablo
is
3 is so good, man.
Dude, you don't know if you like Diablo until you play Diablo.
Don't play
It's
Minecraft
that
Legends,
game.
by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was in your mouth.
No, sorry. Was it Legends or was it Dungeons? I'm thinking of that.
Either. I couldn't even tell the difference.
Me neither. It doesn't matter.
I will say, as someone who primarily plays single player games and likes to play by themselves, doesn't like multiplayer stuff. Like Diablo is just like maybe one of the 2 or 3 games I'm like, no, like I'm gonna play this with somebody else, a crew, anyone I get my hands on. It's like it's that good, and I think Destiny does have some of that. So,
yeah. So
yeah, that's why I think I want to try it for the first time. Is I want to get it. And Josh, you said you're gonna get it like maybe in a week or something.
Yeah,
Sure. I think I might use my my plasma card.
And if you guys do that, I'll jump in. The way Diablo scales between levels is really nice. So you don't necessarily have to be the same level to like enjoy it. It kind of balances everything. So it's really friendly to jump in and out. And man, it's just a lot of freaking fun, dude.
If my experience is anything like with Diablo 3, I'll probably run a few different characters, like whenever I'm a little bit further in. So I don't know.
I'll get it when I can. Like when I can.
What about Final Fantasy 16?
You already know, baby. $100 pre-order is coming in.
$100 DLC.
Wow. He's like, I paid the money. I have to play this game. The more money you put, the more you have to put it. Yeah. I think I might get a few hours in here or there, but it'll probably take me a while to get through that. But
I haven't seen a lot of that game. All I know is DMC combat, FF14 team, and I'll finally get to experience like a story from that team.
Yeah.
So I am excited.
I will say, if listeners or people here, if you've not ever played a Final Fantasy before, they are in no way interconnected. They are a clean slate.
Oh yeah,
sort of deal. And Final Fantasy
universes.
16 seems very, I don't know, design wise, it seems very friendly to people who are like, hey, I like a good open world RPG in general. And
if you want a darker tone, like we were talking about, like I think this is going to be it. Well, and Diablo, I guess. We got.
If you want a dark return and you want like some really polished, like, did you see? By the way, in the presentation that I don't know if you guys played. Oh crap! What was the Game Pass game last year? Again, I can't think of names right now. The really good one. About
last year.
No. Yeah. It was the where you're in like the Renaissance era.
Pentiment.
Pentiment. Okay, Final Fantasy 16 uses the Pentiment system where whenever you're talking to a character or they're talking about like a town, a place, or like a war.
It highlights it.
It highlights it, and
that's so good.
It gives you a chain of like people that are connected with it.
Yeah, you can like highlight or like
lore
move
guide.
your mouse over it.
Yeah,
dude, I love that's my favorite thing about Pentiment.
It's apparently the story is that complicated that in order to help the developers keep all the characters and countries and like locations, wars, states, like all the lore together, is like everything is highlightable, so you're able to do it, and it brings up like bubbles with like graphs and oh man, I was like,
that's so awesome.
I am very much gonna take my time with this. So yeah, it has that system in it, which is neat.
I'm gonna definitely invest in our VR. Colton's been enjoying it, so I'm definitely gonna get us Beat Saber, and then from there, June 29th. I checked the dates. June 29th through July 13th. When's your wedding, Troy?
July 8th.
Okay. Before then, the Steam summer sales should be happening around that time. So, audio listeners who are PC players, look out for that. And I'm definitely scooping Half-Life Alyx when that comes out. But for now, I'm kind of broke, so I'm just gonna chill out.
Yeah. I think I might try out Street Fighter.
Oh my! Sorry. I popped off. I have it. It's great.
Okay.
You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it, bro. I'm telling you.
Will I? Okay.
Yes. I think it's great for like just like if you don't play that much Street Fighter.
I don't play any Street Fighter.
That's great. You're gonna love it.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. See, I want to play Street Fighter 2, but again, I just have to choose my battles here. I just need to choose my battles here, so I'll hold off for a little bit. Wait for like a Super Street Fighter 6.
It's just like I can play that while I'm playing Diablo, but I can't play Final Fantasy while I'm playing Diablo.
Yeah, that one's gonna kind of take
so I'm pushing Final Fantasy back.
Yeah,
that's fair. But
all right.
FF6 is cool. Go check it out.
Sounds good. But okay, cool. Yeah, I totally forgot about Street Fighter 6. That's right. It seems really cool. Again, Capcom just killing it. And
I know.
Even Dragon's Dogma 2 looks good. Capcom, man. I don't know. All right.
Maybe one day I'll play a Capcom game.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. All right, guys.
Lost Planet. Gotta play Lost Planet.
All right, I'm just thinking about Lost Planet 3 as his like one he chooses after that. I'm like, oh no. All right, so we are gonna sign off. I'm glad you guys were able to get together. Literally, we planned this podcast like 3 weeks ago, and it's just been held up every week since. So, it was super fun to talk with you guys, and thank you, Victoria, for joining us.
Yes, thank you. It was really fun to have you.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
And listeners, we will see you all till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.